Oh, yeah. Look who's back in studio. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Happy Monday to you. The definitely the longest month of the year, I think, is old January. We are still in it. Still got a few more days left of January. Then we turn the page to February, where we'll talk about the big game between the Chiefs and the Eagles. We'll do that a little bit. And then it's just we're just kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for spring training. For the San Diego Padres, which, hey, never a dull moment in Padres land in the offseason, certainly. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer of the program. Paulie, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. When I last saw you, I was dropping you off in front of your house,
Yes.
and you were being greeted like a returning king by your family.
I finally got the hero's welcome that I have always wanted back from fantasy camp. Now, it was a matter of happenstance. They happened to be opening the garage at the same time we pulled up. I did not tip them off as to my arrival. But, yeah, it was nice. Bo ran out, jumped in my arms. Taylor ran out and asked me where his presents were.
So that wasn't orchestrated.
It was not
you
orchestrated.
T-minus 17 minutes.
Nope.
T-minus 12 minutes.
Nope. They were actually on their way to the flag football field. I was going to meet them, but we timed it out perfectly. Ben did get me home in time on Friday, and it was very much appreciated. I missed them terribly. But, yeah, to have a nice little greeting like that from my oldest son was really, really sweet and special. He was so happy I was back. Thought I was going to meet him at the field and ended up getting a chance to ride with him over to his flag football game. So it was great. So thanks for getting me home on time. I really appreciate it.
Did I drive fast enough for your liking?
I'm going to say this. He had the pedal to the metal. He really, for him,
What do we got up to 70?
he was about 85.
Whoa.
85, I think. And I was like, all right, don't say anything. It's like talking to your pitcher in the
It was
middle
a
of a
careful
no-hitter.
85. I probably asked Woods 7 times. You think that SUV is a patroller back there? What do you think? I mean, it's got that top thing, and I was always very careful. You know, staying in the slower lane when possible, but trying to keep my speed up. It was a complicated dance on the way home.
You could tell he was a little bit nervous, but he pushed it, man. He pushed it, and that for him was a lot.
No stops.
No stops.
We just plowed all the way through.
We really did.
It's a long drive when you don't break it up a little bit.
Well, it's even longer when you listen to a golf tournament live on the radio. If you are
That got
listening,
me through.
If you're listening to a shot-by-shot golf tournament on the radio, you have no idea just how excruciating it can be.
25-footer. It's going to break right to left. Rolls it up there. Oh, and he just misses it on the high side by a foot or two. That should be a tap-in par
That's
for
it.
Harris English.
That's the whole time. And there was a guy in the tournament, what was his name, that drove me crazy?
Chris Gotterup.
Gotterup. So all the guys, Gotterup hits the drive, Gotterup, the whole drive home. I was like, can this guy finish his effing round so I don't have to hear his name anymore? Gotterup.
You didn't
lays
like
it at
Pot
Gotterup.
Geeter, but Gotterup was
There
okay with you?
Pot Geeter, Lonto, Griffin, and Gotterup.
Chris Gotterup.
I swear to God. But yeah, I mean, and Ben actually made the point. There was our buddy Dennis Paulson was on the call. He's great, by the way. I don't know who the guy he was working with is, but Dennis is great. You can listen to Dennis read the phone book, man. He's going to make it sound interesting and dynamic. But it was, Paulie, it literally was, yeah, he's going to want to find the fairway here. And then, he missed the fairway. Now, the rough here is really thick, so you're really going to have to come in steep, and you're going to have to, fly the ball out.
There's a little bit of repetition.
A
when it comes to
little bit.
radio golf
A little bit of repetition.
I would have rather raw dog than just no music, no nothing.
So I was going to make the point on Twitter. I couldn't find a way to word it. Listening to PGA Tour radio is raw dogging. That is raw dogging. I mean, I sat like this in the passenger seat and just listened to a shot by shot.
You didn't fall asleep. You
No.
didn't put in your earbuds. I
No.
thought perhaps that at some point you would crack.
No.
You just listened
I
with me the
raw-dogged.
whole way.
I raw-dogged it.
A part of it was I wanted to practice all these names. A lot of kind of unknowns that were on the leaderboard at Torrey Pines. So I was doing the award ceremony yesterday, and I wanted to make sure I knew how to say the name of the winners. Pot Geeter and Gotterup and all these weird names. Of course, the easiest name possible.
Harris English.
Harris English ends up winning, so my practice was really pointless over the weekend.
I mean, dude, it was It was. I mean, look, I would have done anything to get home in time, and so I was happy to sit and listen. And yeah, there were some interesting moments. I don't remember them, but I do remember at the time saying, "Well, this isn't half bad," But listening to
three-quarters bad.
It's three-quarters bad. There was a quarter of it that was pretty good. Well, I knew it made the big guy happy. So as long as he was happy, got me home on time, that was great. Got to show up and went to Bo's game. He scored a touchdown and caught a 2-point. I was very happy to get home and see him. Then we had basketball on Saturday for him, and they got beat, I'd say probably 60-4. But they stopped keeping score after one team reaches like 24. Bo got a bucket, won his first basket of the year. His team in 3 games, Paulie, has been outscored 88-8.
Would you say this is a coaching problem? Are they running the wrong offense?
I think it's a talent problem. I think it's a coordination.
Bad drafting. They don't have enough height. What are we looking at here? There's a rebounding issue like the Aztecs, so they're not boxing out enough.
Yes, it is. Yes. Ask me more questions and I'll tell. Ask me more problems.
Do you think they should be going, is it man-to-man or zone?
Yes.
What are we working on the defense?
Bo has no idea what zone means. So when he goes under to play zone, anybody that has the ball, he just goes up and attacks them. That's his version of zone.
Are they switching on defense or are they staying with their man? What are they doing here?
I told him, I go, Bo, this is your area. Stay here. He goes, yeah, but he has the ball. And I go, right, but this guy's here. He's open. If you leave your spot, he's now open. They throw it to him and he makes the bucket. He's like, yeah, but I want to get the ball. I want to get a steal. I'm like, look, I appreciate the hustle. He did not stop, Ben. The game is 32 minutes, so 8-minute quarters. Paulie, the motor on this kid, he only sat for 3 minutes. He ran the whole time. The other dads were coming up to him, dapping him up, going, dude, you're a beast. You are a monster out there. He was a pest, but he has no idea what he's doing. Zero. So he did get his bucket, so he's really happy about that, but they stopped keeping score.
Does he think in football that all 11 defenders should just blitz
one
the quarterback?
Guy, yeah.
The quarterback has the ball. We all go after him. Well, he's just going to throw it to one of the 7 open guys out there.
He doesn't understand the concept of a zone defense. Why would I just be here when the play is happening over here? This is stupid. And so we did that. Then he had baseball yesterday. So we really did the trifecta this weekend. But it was great, man. We had a great family weekend. Nice to be home for you fellas as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was good to be home. I mean, I had to work this week. I have to make up for the time I missed when I was gone last week. So I worked both Saturday and Sunday at Channel 10. But that was fine. I got to watch all the college basketball on Saturday. And then all the football yesterday from the comfort of my office chair. So that's
good.
Fine. Yeah, it was good. And mostly good games, actually, this weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. Paulie, good to be home for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good to be home. Yeah. Megan had her hands full with just the 2 dogs, but 2 dogs with GI stomach issues. Like, literally the day I left, the next morning she was at the emergency vet.
Doo-doo.
Like, to a T, every 45 minutes.
Just on the floor and stuff?
Wherever they could find a spot. And I said, better you than me, and I mean this sincerely because you handle things like that much better than I do, I would have probably
left. You just weaponized. I've learned about weaponized incompetence. I tried the weaponized incompetence with my wife when the kids were, what, babe, why would I change the diaper? You're better at this than me.
No, she agreed.
It didn't fly.
Like, yeah, I had a whole system down, made it work.
The diarrhea system.
I would have just left. I would have said, we have no dogs left anymore. I can't do this.
Can I say this? Was at a restaurant Saturday night, an indoor restaurant, and there were about 7 dogs inside of it. And we've gotten to a point now where people just bring their dogs in. Now, what if those dogs had the same affliction that Paulie's dogs had, right? And I'm there eating a sandwich or a burger, and that dog has diarrhea. Or what if
I would hope you wouldn't bring your dog if they were.
Why are you bringing your dog inside of a restaurant?
I don't mind a well-behaved dog at a casual place, even inside. Even inside, it doesn't bother me.
I love dogs, but
if they're like barking and
we're getting to a point now where it's just I was at Vaughn's and I'm like, lady, you're walking your giant labradoodle around the fruit section that I'm eating. Now, I like dogs. I have 4 cats at my home, right? Like, I like dogs. I like animals. I'm not an animal hater. But I wouldn't walk one of my cats into Vaughn's and be like, all right, so what do we get? Oh, what is this, cucumbers? Let me grab some of these. Get some of these peaches. Those look fresh. It just, it's weird. It doesn't make any sense.
One of my coworkers on the weekend, she brings her dog to work at Channel 10, but well-behaved. And if it makes her happy and makes work easier for you and doesn't really affect my work at all, I don't care. I don't mind.
Is it a service dog?
I don't think so.
Oh.
But it's a small little dog. Just kind of stays under her desk.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
I don't know if she's supposed to be doing that.
Rule. No living creatures with diarrhea should be allowed in restaurants.
No, fine. If my kid had diarrhea, I'm not taking him to a restaurant.
Right.
Should we have a bring our pets to the show day one day soon?
No.
We can all bring in one of our pets.
No. Please, no. Please, it's just gotten out of control. It just has gotten out of control. Well, and dogs are feeling better now, Paulie?
Yeah, no,
good.
they were good. They were
Good. Well, we
nice,
are
easy
back.
weekend.
It's good to be back in here. I do like being at fantasy camp very much, and I miss it today. I missed it when I woke up. It's such a fun lifestyle of just getting up and going to play baseball all day. But we're back to reality. But it is nice to be back in the studio. This is where I feel like we do our best work. I think our work suffers when we're out, though. I think we put together some good shows with some good interviews. Was very pleased, but I feel more comfortable in here. I feel more like Ben and Woods when we're in here.
Well, we got a lot to get to, so let's take our first time out, get some traffic from Kelly. We'll come back. Not only topics, but we got a bunch of giveaways and interesting news to share with you today, so we'll get to all of that coming up when we return with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Got a lot to get to on the program today. Obviously, we will talk some NFL football. The Super Bowl matchup, as Woods mentioned, is set. I think you probably noticed yesterday the Philadelphia Eagles going to take on the Kansas City Chiefs on February 9th in New Orleans at the Caesars Superdome. Chiefs, of course, going for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl title. And that's pretty crazy that not only has no team ever won 3 straight Super Bowls, and now we're gone to number 59, no team has ever actually even had a chance to win a third straight. All the teams that have won back-to-back until the Chiefs this year, none of them have even made it to the Super Bowl in that third year. I think 3 had gotten to conference championships. They had all lost until yesterday when the Chiefs pulled out the 32-29 win over the Bills. So they will have that opportunity to make NFL history in just under 2 weeks in New Orleans.
RG3 tweeted yesterday, just to put it in perspective, the Chiefs have won 17 consecutive one-score games, which is insanity. 9 straight AFC West championships, 3 straight AFC Conference championships. Now they're in their 3rd straight Super Bowl, going for the first three-peat in NFL history. You love to see it.
Think about Patrick Mahomes and all that he's accomplished. When he shows up to the first day of OTAs, training camp, whatever his first role is for the season, he's already penciled in to the AFC Championship game.
Pretty much, yeah.
7 straight years.
7 straight.
7 straight AFC Championship games? That's unreal.
It's insane. Insane.
He's now 17-3 in his playoff career.
That is astounding.
And 3-1 in Super Bowls. Will have his chance to win a 4th ring already.
That is astounding. Who'd they lose to?
They lost to the... Who did they lose to? The 49? No.
Rams?
Rams, yeah.
Rams, yeah.
Sean McVay and the Rams.
Yep. I mean, he's spectacular. And we'll get into the game certainly, but watch the first series from each team yesterday. And watch how Josh Allen played the first series, and watch how Patrick Mahomes played the first series. And you tell me that it's not. I mean, look, I realize, and people were up in arms again about the penalties and stuff, or lack thereof. We can talk about it. I did see some fairly egregious ones, but you can't take away from that dude's ability to lead his team.
I think that is a great point that actually hasn't been made enough. The Bills played well. They did not play a bad game.
They did.
Josh Allen didn't play a bad game, but that beginning sequence where the Bills, go 3 and out, and then the Chiefs go down and score a touchdown.
Like he should have been picked off twice.
like throwing wounded ducks into the air.
Most teams, it's a big playoff game. You're lucky if you get to a conference championship once or twice in your career, a Super Bowl maybe once. You're going to be a little nervous, a little tentative. And the Chiefs aren't because, they're there every year, so they play more loose in these games. They just feel more comfortable in the big games. The more they're in them, the more comfortable they feel, which continues to give them more of an advantage over these teams going, this is our one chance ever to take down the Chiefs. We have to do it. The Chiefs are like, yeah, we're here every single year. This is pretty much a normal game for us. And they look comfortable. And then the Bills settled in and probably ultimately outplayed them, but because the Chiefs were up 7-0 and had the ball then to start the second half as well, that tiny difference in those close games makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
and they're just a little more comfortable at the outset of these playoff games.
Yeah, and playing at home is huge. I mean,
comfortable in the the pressure moments in the fourth quarter because they've been there so often.
Somebody said in the chat. That where the hell did it go? I lost it. Sorry. They breezed through.
They lost to Tampa Bay. Rams beat the Bengals. Yeah,
that was Tom Brady and Tampa Bay.
Correct.
So that's Patrick Mahomes' only loss. But SP Chula Vista says, they just kind of breezed through the regular season in the most unspectacular way. Yeah, they won some really, really close games. They rarely covered the spread. They were heavily favored in so many games, and they would eke their way through it, but they know how to win. And watching those two teams go back and forth yesterday, it's Ali Frazier. It's so good. It's such good theater. It's such good television. It's such good football that is just, I was rooting for the Bills. I bet on the Bills plus the 2 points because I want to see who deserves it more than the city of Buffalo. My God. I
felt so bad.
I was talking to somebody over the weekend, and I said, look, Buffalo they still have the Sabres, right? Buffalo Sabres. So they made a Stanley Cup final years ago. They lost to the Dallas Stars. I remember that. They got an NLL team like we have here, the San Diego Seals. They got the Buffalo Bandits. They decided, hey, this is a pro team in Buffalo. We're going to support them to the tune of 18,000 fans a game. 18,000. Guess what? They won the last 2 titles, and they're going for the third. They're undefeated. That city shows up. The Bills Mafia is, the Buffalo Mafia is undefeated. And I just feel terrible for those guys waking up today. What is it, 1 degree? And they got to trudge into their job going, oh, my God, we have to wait again and again. And I think Ryan Clark summed it up the best yesterday. He goes, man, there's going to be a gang of quarterbacks on the podium in Canton with gold jackets on that never won a Super Bowl because they're in the Patrick Mahomes era. And I said, man, that nailed it for me. It's so true.
Well, we will talk about the fourth down stops, the officiating, all the different little details of the conference championship games coming up in our 7 o'clock hour. Before that, though, definitely want to talk some Padres baseball. Obviously, we heard more from Jurickson Profar over the weekend. We knew about his departure on last week. We talked about it when we were at fantasy camp, and Woods actually heard that news before it even broke.
Yeah,
it was already starting to circulate around Peoria that Jurickson had made his decision. He did. He was introduced by the Braves, had some comments about why he chose the Braves over the Padres. I think financially was a big one. We'll talk about that coming up. Talk about the Aztecs. Absolutely out of nowhere, dominant road performance on Saturday night. We'll also give away some tickets to tomorrow night's game at Viejas Arena against San Jose State. Do that in our 7 o'clock hour. Don't do this. Our regular features, take on Woods at 8:20, chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. And don't forget, today is the day the biggest fan names begin to be read. So starting this morning at 9 o'clock, if you have entered our contest, and I don't think it's too late, if you still go to 973thefansd.com/biggestfan, you can get your name in. We will start picking names, and you'll have a chance to call us back and qualify for the grand prize drawing of the night in the Odyssey Suite at Petco Park for an upcoming Padres game this year. So the first name at 9 o'clock this morning. So stay tuned for that. Reindl Report, it's more of a regular week, back in studio.
Yes, feels good.
Feels good to be back here and get off running, but we'll definitely get to some Padres talk from the weekend. They did actually acquire a player as well. I believe, on the 40-man roster.
Yeah, it happened on the drive home as we were listening to PGA Tour radio, but we did pick up I guess a bullpen piece for cash, and we will talk about that certainly. Well, listen, you guys asked me in the chat, Woodsy, post your underdog picks. I don't know that I'm ever going to do that again because I feel like it was really not great for me. I got smoked yesterday in Underdog, but if you're a California sports fan, Underdog is now available to play right here in our state, the best place to cash in on all your takes during the playoffs. It wasn't for me, but maybe it was for you. Which players are going to go off? Which ones are ice cold? Hey, we'll regroup and do it again for the big game, certainly. But with their pick'em game at Underdog, you could win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats like yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and more. I got cute yesterday with mine. And don't get cute. Just stick to what works, right? What's been working. But they are Underdog, the best place to play Pick'em. Download the app, sign up with the promo code Woods, deposit now, and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Use promo code Woods when you sign up. You must be 18 and over, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. We are. Terms do apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
You see out there, Padres fans, obviously there's some frustration in Padres world, and Jurickson and Profar's comments over the weekend seem to inflame it a little bit more. I mean, I know you probably spend more time looking at the comments than I do, but I saw a lot of people saying, hey, are you going to call out the Padres after what Jurickson and Profar said? And if I'm not mistaken, go back to earlier this offseason. Coming out of our holiday break, we, when the lawsuit was filed, first thing we said, this is probably not going to be a good thing in terms of recruiting free agents this offseason. Yeah. Any hint of, unsettled and unrest in any front office is not going to be a good thing. That was like the first thing we said. We knew that this was a possibility, that this was going to make the offseason more difficult for A.J. Preller.
And I talked myself into getting Roki Sasaki despite the ownership stuff, and he came out and he and his agent said, oh, that was the number one reason. I'm like, all right, bro, number one, nothing you've said has been accurate. So I talked myself into, hey, it's Roki Sasaki. He's going to be making anywhere from $6 to $10 million for the next 5-6 years. His checks will clear. I'm not too worried about it. If he wants to be here, wants to be with Ruben, wants to be with you, Darvish, wants a challenge, doesn't want to join an already stacked roster, this is a great fit for him. Southern California, the whole thing, the smaller market, everything you said that you wanted to do, this is still a great fit. Ownership stuff will be worked out at some point. Not the only organization in baseball going through some of this crap and strife, not by a long stretch. So that one I talked myself into. Now, if I'm Jurickson Profar, it's a different scenario. I came back on a 1 year, $1 million deal. I had a monster season. I am deserving of a huge raise. And I think while he said it, and we'll play you what he said. Paulie's got the audio here.
You mentioned the Braves in San Diego. When did it become apparent to you that maybe you wouldn't return to the Padres, and you kind of fielded the interest from some of the other teams?
Obviously, the Padres have some issue with the ownership and all that, and it was difficult to go back, but Alex showed a lot of interest in me, and I love that. He gave me a lot of confidence, to come to a team and to perform. When people show confidence like that in you, it gives you a boost.
So I think it's safe to assume, I guess, I really don't like speculating and assuming, but when he says Alex showed, a lot of interest in me, and he did. Alex Anthopoulos had him earmarked as the second best hitter in free agency, right behind Juan Soto.
Now, you say things like that when you're recruiting a player.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, but 100%, you're right. But I don't necessarily think he got the same interest from San Diego, and we don't know. Maybe it was AJ telling him, hey, man, I'd love to have you back. You know how I feel about you. We love you here. You're beloved by the fan base. You're beloved by the media. You're beloved by us. I don't know that I've got 14 per for you. I just don't know that I have it. I have not been okayed to offer you $14 million a year, Jurickson. And so if you can find that offer somewhere else, great. I'm not mad at Jurickson Profar for saying that. I think it shines a light on what Padre fans and really, frankly, players are feeling right now. And the proof is in the pudding. We haven't added a soul on the major league level. So he's kind of telling us what we already know. So I'm not mad at Jurickson Profar. I'm happy for Jurickson Profar. I wish he was a San Diego Padre, but I don't blame him at all for going out and getting $14 million a year for 3 years. The comment that bothered me more than that comment was we were driving, and a guy by the name of Miles Garrett TV tweeted, Profar says he spoke to Andrew Jones last year and told him, get me to the Braves. That's the one that bothered me more than, well, I didn't sign because they've got ownership issues. I'm sitting here going, now, technically, when was last year? A month ago? Was it then, or was it in the middle of the season? Like going, hey, bro, if you can get me to the Braves, that'd be great. But Mookie Betts did the same thing to Manny Machado when he was on the Boston Red Sox. Hey, if you guys got more money, I'd love to play for you guys. He said the exact same thing.
Now,
I believe he told Don Orsillo the same thing.
Yeah, and it came out that Jurickson growing up in Curacao was a Braves fan.
They said it's Braves country down there.
It sounds like
because of Andrew Jones.
I think he's going to thrive.
He's going to be great.
Even our little favorite Kyrie was like, "Oh, you get a chance to go to the Braves?
Go.
That would be really cool and awesome." I kind of agree with you, Woods. I would read more into Jurickson's comments if I knew the Padres were offering the same deal. $14 million a year.
Yeah, 100%.
And it came down between the Padres and the Braves.
He picked the Braves?
I'm picking the Braves to the exact same money because...
The stability.
Stability, whatever.
Yep.
Then I'd go, okay, then this is a huge problem.
See, I disagree. I still think it's quite alarming that now that's two players that you had targeted or at least were connected to that have publicly said... That's the reason.
With Roki, we know the target was there. I mean, you couldn't get a bigger bullseye on somebody's
And we know
chest.
the Padres offered not only a competitive amount, but
more
than the
right.
Dodgers.
So
a limited amount that they could.
As much as I convinced myself that it wouldn't matter for Roki, it's like Andy says. He said it was hard to go back. How really does the ownership for the Padres affect him? It's either the Seidler brothers or Sheel. Yeah, good point. I think, again, if the offer was comparable – or if it was the same, I think he might have come here. But you never know. I mean, you never know. I know he was happy here, but then to hear that he told Andrew Jones, "Hey man, start greasing the wheels for your boy. I'd love to play for the Braves." Okay, fine. Maybe he didn't think the Padres were had the best chance to compete like the Braves do. And bro, I looked at that lineup that they're going to run out there on opening day for the Atlanta Braves, and I went, yeah, you're a natural fit there, bro. You are a great fit. They're going to be a good team. My hottest take of all is probably based on some things that went down over the weekend, too, and rumors that we've heard. We will see Dylan Cease starting opening day at Petco Park. It just won't be for the Padres. It's going to be for the Atlanta Braves. That's what my gut is telling me, and that's what some people have said over the weekend, essentially. So there's a lot of buzz around a Dylan Cease, Georgia native. I mean, it makes too much sense. Now, what can you get out of the Braves? I don't know. We're not quite there yet. They've got some good prospects, but Alex Anthopoulos isn't going to unload 3 or 4 top prospects on you for a 1-year rental.
Well, I think it's a good sign that, I mean, even if the Padres are, as they clearly are, operating under some financial constraints, that they're not just giving away players to lower payroll.
Right.
That would be the biggest concern. If they had just already traded away either Arise or Cease or both of them to shed payroll and say, hey, we're just going to take a couple of AA players and cross our fingers, the reason probably we haven't seen any moves is that AJ hasn't received an offer that he feels is fair or commensurate with the kind of players that he's dangling out there. And I would hope that if he doesn't get those kind of offers, then he doesn't make the trade. I mean, you wait until someone comes to you with a convincing offer before you move a talented player like a Dylan Cease.
Pretty wild that they have the Dylan Cease bobblehead announced for late in the season, the Luis Arise bobblehead announced for late in the season because, again, and I mentioned this Friday, and I'm trying not to get too drawn in these days. I'm just trying to keep my peace a little bit. But I get a little bit drawn in over the weekend as it pertains to everything that's going on with this team. And I said it on Friday, and I'll say it again. If you came to us and the fans that have, now bought every season ticket, the fans showed up last year. If you came to the fans and said, guys, we painted ourselves into a bit of a financial corner, which, by the way, I've heard owners say before. The problem is we don't necessarily know who would even grab the mic.
Steve Cohen said it over the weekend.
He did.
The richest owner in sports said,
did.
hey, we'd love to have Pete Alonso. We've kind of painted ourselves into a corner here, and he's asking for too much,
yes.
and I don't think we should pay it.
Yeah,
he said that this weekend at Mets Fan Fest.
He doesn't like how it's structured and all that. That's Steve Cohen saying it. So I think if whoever the point person was, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right now, today, in this moment, it would be Eric Katsenda. He is the guy calling the shots.
If Preller had a deal to be made,
he needs his sign-off.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. So Eric Katsenda, who, by the way, didn't really want this gig, was not really the guy that said, Peter,
He was always a placeholder.
He was
at the
always a
very least. I
placeholder.
don't know his thought process, but we knew he was always a temporary placeholder as the control person.
And I do find myself feeling slightly bad for him because it would be like me leaving you guys something. Hey, I'm passing away. You're going to need to do maintenance on my house. And Ben's like, but I don't want to do maintenance on your house. No, that's just what
I'm not a contractor. I don't know anything about
We
this.
actually should leave something goofy for each other in our wills, just as a bit. But no, if
You
it's
guys are
Eric,
going to die way before I do.
that's true. If it's Eric Consenda today that's making these calls, I don't know that he's even authorized to make any calls to do anything. So I feel like until we know who's in charge, they need to come out and say, guys, and I think Padre fans can take it. I really do. Like, we've taken a lot worse than this. Hey, we still got a good core. We are going to have to move some pieces for some more flexibility. It's just inevitable. It's going to happen. Padre fans can bear it. But this sitting on the fence going, are we going to keep Dylan? Are we going to keep Suarez? Are we going to keep Arise? Are we going to do this? Are we going to add any players? The unknown is what's making everybody insane. It's what's making everybody insane. Shoot me between the eyes. I can take it. Don't shoot me in the back of the knee and let me bleed out.
Do you even know, can MLB approve the John Seidler move while the litigation is
I don't know.
going
That's
on?
a good question.
I have no
Because otherwise,
idea.
I can't do this for 2 to however many years from now.
Bro, I'm with you.
Like I can't do it. And especially if they're going to be financially constrained while that's all getting sorted out. Like, bro, you can't just punt 3 years.
Correct. Of Manny's prime, of Tatis's prime, of Jackson Merrill's prime. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think multiple things can be true at the same time. The Padres should be able to be competitive on the field at the financial level they're at right now.
I agree.
There's no reason at the level of spending they're at right now, they can't put a really good team on the field.
I agree.
That's one. The other part that is also true is fans are going to be frustrated when they see an inability to add and improve the roster. And the Padres have to realize that no matter how many times they very logically say, our payroll's actually going up, we are spending. But it's even though it's true,
they can't keep saying it.
But this is my point. They are 100% correct in every point that is being made. And I saw Kevin Acey's piece over the weekend. Wasn't wrong about any of it. It's not going to change how fans feel.
No.
The Padres have to realize, and it's the handwriting's on the wall. Even Ryan Cohen, Mr.
When
Positive,
I saw Ryan
is frustrated.
Cohen lose it, I was like, "Well, we're cooked."
He should be. If I was working in the Padres office, Ryan Cohen is my litmus test.
100%. If he's pissed,
if he's frustrated, then I know
You're cooked.
there's no way I'm going to be able to convince the fan base of this point, no matter how many facts I have that the Padres are competing at a financial level that is acceptable. It's the same as other teams in bigger markets. It's not a bad level they're at, but that's never going to satisfy the fans because you've made us spoiled the last few years. You have chased this championship. You've gotten this close, and fans want you to see you finish the job. And to finish the job, it's going to probably take a little more investment going forward.
Yes.
Not a retrenchment, unfortunately.
Yeah, and not a bunch of raises. We're going to pay the guys that are already here more money.
That doesn't give you more production.
It doesn't give
Fans
you more
don't
production.
Want more money. They don't want more money.
We don't want more money. We want more players.
You don't want more. You don't care what the payroll is. You want more production. You want more players. It could be half the payroll. You'd be absolutely happy.
Holes filled.
It's not an argument about what the Padres' payroll is, should be, what they can afford. I get it. Their payroll is actually at a really decent level. The problem is the roster is getting worse, and fans are frustrated by that. And they have to realize at some point that no matter what I say, AC writes, that's not going to change.
It's not.
And I understand it. Fans are frustrated because they see a roster that's not improving, that's actually getting worse because they haven't filled any of their needs in the offseason.
And you lost your heart and soul to Atlanta, and the reason he gave is because ownership is uncertain right now, man. It is just, I agree with that 100%. And in context, as Andy says in the chat, is king. Context is king. We would like on this show, we haven't really lobbied for it, but it would be great to have one more person to do like an associate producer on-air role. If they come to us and they say, you guys all got raises last year because of the good year that you've had, we're actually putting more money into your show, but we need we have a hole to fill. Sorry, like we've already paid you guys enough. It's tough. It's tough. It doesn't make us feel better, and it certainly doesn't make the fans feel better. And again, I think if they came out and it at least would say, "Hey, this," the other thing I wanted to talk about. You want to talk about morale. If players are leaving and saying these things, what are the guys that are here and locked in? What are they feeling right now? What is Manny feeling? What is Jackson Merrill feeling? I mean, this is his first full year in the organization as far as on the big league level. What are these guys feeling right now?
I don't think they're reacting like fans are. Players look at it differently. They are confident in the group that they have, I would imagine.
Maybe.
I don't think they're going to say, "Oh, we need other players." The way I see ball players, they're all like, "Yeah, we're all really good. We're going to go in there and we're going to be really good, and this is going to be a good season." I don't think that they express...
Is that just something you say?
I don't. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not a ball player, so I don't know how they really feel. But that's what, at least publicly, what I've heard them say in the past. They don't seem to view it the way fans view it.
I know at fantasy camp we could have used a couple more players on our team. I would have given up some salary, Ben, for a couple more players. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, man, we could talk about this all day.
Now, you said the Padres haven't added a soul to the Major League roster.
Well,
that's not
right.
entirely true, unless, of
wrong.
course, their newest player doesn't have a soul, which would be very dark, but we can talk about the move they did make right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
We're dealing with some very slick conditions this morning, guys. Northbound side of the 15 at the 8. Traffic alert all due to this crash involving a semi. 2 right lanes are blocked and a fuel spill thrown into the mix. Can't access East 8 to northbound 15 at this time, all due to that collision. And keep in mind, Camino del Rio south on-ramp to northbound 15 is closed, all due to that fuel spill. Another traffic alert in the East County. Westbound 8 before Mollison does not appear to be blocking lanes at this time. Vehicles in the center divide, vehicle over the right shoulder. In the North County, crash in middle lanes, northbound 15 before the 78. Several vehicles involved. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So we got the news as we were driving back from fantasy camp on Friday that the Padres had acquired a right-handed pitcher. And my first reaction, I think, was the same as yours. Who? Who's that? From the White Sox? That can't be a good thing. Well, technically, he actually never pitched for the White Sox.
Correct.
He was claimed by the White Sox and then bought from the Padres with cash from the White Sox. He's a right-handed pitcher named Ron Marinaccio.
Oh, there he is.
Or something like that.
All right, so I did, as a good journalist, I'm not a journalist. Stop calling me one. I went and did my research, and I pulled several different interviews of Ron
Marinaccio.
And I got about 7 different versions. There's Marinaccio. There's one guy just goes, "All right, I'm here with Yankees reliever Ron Marinaccio, and you had a great day today. 2 1/3 scoreless innings. I swear to God, he just Ron Marinaccio, and went right through it.
Ron Maraschino.
But yeah, it was like Marinaccio.
I mean, it's kind of like focaccia, so
Yeah,
it's probably
focaccia.
Marinaccio.
Yeah, you don't
right?
say focaccia.
You don't say focaccia.
Focaccia.
So it's focaccia, so it's Marinaccio, right?
So I looked him up. I looked at Meredith Marakovitz interviewing him. No one says it the same. So I guess we're just going to ask him at spring training when we meet him. Ron, what is the definitive way to say your last name? My guess is Marinaccio.
Not sure what role they have in mind for him. It actually looks like a fairly savvy pickup. He
looks pretty good.
He has really strong reverse splits. For a right-hander, he gets left-handers out really well. Righties, not so much, but you could almost use him as like a left-handed specialist out of the bullpen based on the splits that he had for the Yankees, by the way, as a reliever in their bullpen, where he was moderately effective when they were able to use him, especially against oddly left-handed batters. I don't know that much about Ron Marinaccio other than that, but sounds like it was an inexpensive and perhaps savvy pickup by A.J. Preller over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're making moves on the fringes right now, which is really all they can do. And look, I love fringe moves. I do. I think they're so great. After you've added a starting left fielder and a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark as a designated hitter and another starting pitcher, fringe moves get me excited. Big moves get me more excited.
We might have time to take some Padres calls later in the show.
I'd
You
like
just
to,
brought
man.
that up,
I'd like to. We haven't
we'll
heard
do
from
that.
the
When
tier
we come
ones in
back,
a
though, I
while.
want to talk about the Aztecs. We actually have some tickets to give away as well. Big win Saturday night in Reno. It's coming up next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. So, full transparency. Pretty much, I don't know, before every Aztecs game, usually you get a text from Paulie asking my opinion on how I think the Aztecs are going to fare in relation to whatever point spread has been established for that evening's game. I have no idea what you're doing with that information, Paulie. Maybe you're just curious.
He's not gambling illegally, I'll tell you that.
I don't know if he is or not, but he likes to get my thoughts on it. And on Saturday, when the Aztecs were actually, 2.5-point underdogs on the road against the Nevada Wolfpack, I think my take was, don't bet on Nevada. I'm never going to roll with Steve Alford. You know me. They're not that great of a team, but it's also hard to have a ton of faith in the Aztecs on the road at altitude right now. But at some point, what did I say, Paul? At some point, Brian Dutcher is going to figure this out. He always does. Will it happen tonight? I don't know. Might. Well,
I think I said, until they play a little more consistently, I kind of just want to stay away.
Well, it certainly looked like they fixed a number of their issues on Saturday night in Reno, as the Aztecs came through not just with a win, but dominant. A 19-point dominant win.
What was the spread, 10?
They were 2.5-point underdogs.
2.5 dogs?
They were 2.5 dogs.
Oh, it was 10 the game before.
And they won by 19. Yeah, the Air Force game, they were supposed to win by 19. They only won on the last-second buzzer beater by Wayne McKinney. This game, they were actually supposed to lose, and they won easily, 69-50. And it wasn't like the stars were being stars, especially in the first half. Miles Byrd couldn't hit a shot. Nick Boyd couldn't do anything.
It's been a little cold lately.
Both of those guys have been struggling scoring. Byrd, though, contributed in other ways. A career-high 9 assists. Got Magoon Guath into the game. Guath had one of, if not his best game so far as an Aztec. 15-point, 13 rebounds, second career double-double, went 7 for 7 from the field, and was a defensive presence inside. And he talked about after the game, and this is a freshman thing, how hard it is to stay locked in for the entire time you're out there. Like, you can't take a possession off offensively or defensively. And he felt like I finally had a game where, like, every single time I felt like I was locked in, I was concentrating. You should always be concentrating. It's not that easy when you're, what was he, 19 years old, something like that, and you're playing on the Division I level for the first time. In high school, you don't have to concentrate that much. You're so physically dominant over the other players. Just throw it up to me, I'll lob it in. In college basketball, you have to be locked in every second, and that's a bit of a learning process. But he had that huge game. I think Nevada didn't have a great game either. I mean, they had some open shots that they missed. They're not a great shooting team, and the combination turned into an easy win for the Aztecs. And boy, did they need that, because after the loss to the win over Air Force,
that felt like a loss.
They had dropped really onto the bubble, onto Joe Lunardi's bubble, Jerry Palm's bubble, Andy Katz. Everyone who does a bracket pretty much had the Aztecs as one of the last 4 teams in. I mean, but still directly on the bubble. And this win, because it was, on the road and technically an upset by a lot of points, moved them up, I think, from 47 to 41 in the net, from 46 to 37 in the Ken Palm. A little bit off the bubble, just a hint maybe of breathing room for San Diego State. It's not like they can take a bad loss still going forward, but you can at least exhale for a second, San Diego State fans, based on the performance that we saw on Saturday night in Reno.
Next opponent is?
Tomorrow, San Jose State. Now, this week, 2 home games, and they're both just landmines. There's no upside to either of these games. San Jose State, I think, is 9th in the Mountain West, and Wyoming, who's coming in on Saturday, 10th. In the Mountain West. They're 172nd and 181st in the net rankings. A loss on either of those games is brutal. Even a close win is going to hurt you. So there's really not much good that can happen this week. You just got to take care of business in both games and then move on to the rest of your schedule. But, if they do take care of business and can win these 2 games, as they should, they'll be heavily favored in both of them. You get up to 8-3 in the conference, you'll be more than halfway through, and you'll be no more probably than a game or 2 out of first place, with a chance to still face New Mexico and Utah State again in the second half of the season. You still have everything in front of you if you're the Aztecs. You haven't lost anything
yet. Your destiny is in your hands.
It is. Yeah, it's a good point. And there were some other good results this weekend as well. Did you see the highlights of the Houston-Kansas game?
No.
What a crazy one that was. So remember the Houston Cougars, that's the Aztecs' best win. They have not lost since they lost to San Diego State in Las Vegas. They have won every game since, and they were about to lose to Kansas. They were down, I think, late in regulation and scrambled to force overtime. They were down 6 with like 10 seconds to go in overtime. Hit a 3, got a steal, hit another 3 to force double overtime, and then went on to win at Fog Allen Fieldhouse on the road in Kansas, 92-86 in double overtime for their 12th straight win since that loss to SDSU. Houston's like number 3 in the net.
Wow.
The number 7 probably moving up in the rankings in the AP. That's a win that's going to carry a lot of juice in the committee room. You know, if the Aztecs need an at-large bid, that's one that they have that is just getting better and better and better as the year goes on. So if you're an Aztecs fan, keep cheering for Houston to do well. Cheer for Creighton to do well. I think they only have 3 losses overall. One of them's to San Diego State. So those are the
great teams.
Those are the 2 premier non-conference wins that really puff up the Aztecs' resume when it comes to be tournament time. Something that maybe some of the other teams on the bubble won't have. That's the good news for San Diego State.
We have tickets to give away.
We do.
Don't we?
Yeah, why don't we do that right now? We got a pair of tickets for tomorrow night's game, Aztecs against the San Jose State Spartans. You can get your own tickets at goaztecs.com, but if you want to be inside Viejas Arena tomorrow night, you can win them right now. We'll give it to the 4th caller at 833-288-0973, 833-298-0973.
Try that number again.
What? 833-288-0973.
Did he biff it?
Yeah, I think I said 298. 833-288. 0973. Chance to win the tickets for tomorrow night's game, which I believe is one of those 8 p.m. starts on a Tuesday night at Viejas Arena. I know, Aztecs fans, it's not that bad getting out of the parking lot. Just have a little coffee. You'll be fine. You'll make it to the end of the game.
Yesterday, when I was doing a little work on today's show, and I saw that we had tickets to give away, and I was like, what time is that game at on Tuesday? My computer was still set to Mountain Standard Time, so it said 9 p.m.
9
tip-off. I go, no chance.
That's it for me.
Nope.
Yeah, 8's pushing it for me. I mean, it is pushing it. I'll put it on and I'll fall asleep to it. But it's too late. Too late. I'm cash. How's your body feeling, Paulie, after fantasy camp?
Okay.
My lower half is wrecked.
Lower half.
Yeah, my
What?
knees,
Where do you start? Like start the lower half at your
my waist.
hips.
Yeah, my waist.
Waist and down.
Everything up here, good. Arm feels good. Back feels good.
Quads, hammies.
It's my
glutes.
my right. Did you see how thrashed my?
My goodness
my
gracious.
right
We know
knee
you
is-
slide right in on your right knee there, don't you?
Yeah, and then I dove for a ball, and I just got.
Get a little higher or take off the graphic because we can't see.
There it is.
So stretch it out. There you go.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
You are.
I got banged up.
Those are some strawberries.
Yeah,
right there.
and I've got the back of my knee is. I just hope there's nothing structural in there. That's what I'm hoping for. But
there were a couple of like major injuries at fantasy camp, right?
yeah, we had
Always is.
2 ACLs go. I think.
We had an Achilles and an ACL, I think it was.
Is it the same thing? No.
No, they're totally
The
different.
anterior cruciate ligament, and then the
One's your
Achilles.
knee,
Achilles is in
one's
the
your
ankle.
Is in the ankle.
Yeah, Achilles heel.
One guy.
ACL's in the knee.
One guy, I saw him when he walked in. I looked at him and I said, "He's gonna get hurt." You just can see it, in their face, and he did. He I think he's the one that tore his ACL, and no good, man. They're hobbling around on crutches and stuff the rest of the week, so you really got to try to take care of yourself.
man.
It sucks.
Nobody waits all year
For that.
pays that amount of
I
money.
know.
Flies out to Arizona only to get hurt on day one.
Day 1 or
day
2. Yeah, toast, man. I'll never forget John Howard. John Howard from
That's
Channel
right.
8.
That's right. My
The
counterpart
guy,
at
your
CBS.
counterpart.
Yep.
The first swing he took but we haven't even played a game. He took a swing in practice.
Evaluation.
Evaluation. First swing he took, ripped his knee in half.
And you and Tom Seidler, you all wonder why I don't do this. I don't want to be the next John Howard. That's not my goal. I don't
Save that clip for some reason. Just save it. We may need it
in
sometime.
that context.
I don't want to be the next John Howard. John Howard, you could do a lot worse than John Howard,
No
Ben.
offense, John.
Jeez.
I don't want to be the guy who
Oh,
on
man,
the
out here
first
taking
swing,
stray bullets.
one step out of the box, is reaching for an injury that's going to put me on the shelf for months.
The funny thing is we could do 90 days of content of you getting your body ready for fantasy camp. We would have a killer time doing that. Don't you think? I think, and for you, it's tough because, Like I played baseball in the off season. I play baseball.
Yeah.
Like if you got hurt and couldn't play golf, that would be devastating. I would feel like
And I couldn't Peloton.
Couldn't
and,
Peloton.
I mean, I'm in a good spot right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to risk
That's the thing.
the good spot that
That's
I've
the
gotten
thing.
myself to.
Yeah, you don't love it that much. You know, you don't like for me, it's worth the risk.
So is there a thought how cool it would be to step into the box?
Yeah.
And, hit a line drive, make solid contact, maybe get on the mound again. I used to be a pitcher long ago.
Yes.
Be the next John Howard. Sure.
Sorry, John.
Sure, I let myself think about it at least and how, cool it would be. But I always immediately go to, I'm going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And just how devastating it would be if I got hurt and what it would cost me. Because I've worked really hard over the past few months to get to where I am. And by the way, I got to thank SDFatLoss.com. They got me really started. I had Pelotoned a little bit before I started the SDFatLoss.com program. But once I lost the 40 pounds in 60 days, I was able to get on the bike every single day. It feeds. You get healthy, you lose the weight, you feel better about yourself. Then you can exercise a little bit more. It's just a complete life changer. It was for me, can be for you as well. I lost the weight quickly. Scraby did, Ello did, so many tier ones. I mean, they've lost hundreds and hundreds of pounds on the SDFatLoss.com program. And right now, if you sign up at SDFatLoss.com, get your free consultation. You can get $200 off through January 31st. It's the new you in the new year special. Find out how it works. It's based on just real food, stuff from the grocery store. I made some meals for myself last night, chicken, vegetables. I like it. I've been able to eat it. I've been able to stick with it. That's why I've been able to keep the weight off. You can find out how it can work for you as well. No injections or drugs or hormones. It's easy to follow. It's just all about when to eat, portion sizes. You can do it. I did it, and I never thought I'd be able to keep the weight off. I finally have. Make the call or just go online. Very simple. SDFatLoss.com and get that free consultation. Meet with a counselor. You can lose up to 10 to 20% of your body weight in 60 days. That's up to a pound of fat per day at SDFatLoss.com. We'll come back with Don't Do This. Former major leaguer getting dragged over a tweet he sent that involved the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Talk about that coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by Trust and Will. Don't leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Do set up a Trust or Will online at trustandwill.com. It's a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. All right, I know this is a touchy topic because I got a lot of pushback last night on Twitter. I am not a Chiefs hater. I don't have Chiefs fatigue. I know a lot of you out there have Chiefs fatigue. I don't. I still enjoy watching the Chiefs play in the postseason.
Pretty fun team to watch.
I think they're entertaining games, and I have no. Now, I'm not rooting for them. I'm not a Chiefs fan. Had they lost, would have been really happy for the Bills. Would have been excited for a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl. But I'm not one of these people that is like angry when the Chiefs keep winning.
That's
or
Dodger
think there's
loving then, huh?
Or think there's that's what I got. I got a lot of that. And that brings us to our first
I saw that
DDT story today.
Listen, as much as I like to rag on you, there's zero correlation between the Dodgers and the Chiefs. None whatsoever. And Nepo brother himself, Ben Verlander, came out last night and tweeted, people will really complain about the Dodgers signing everyone and cry for a salary cap while watching the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl every year with a salary cap. What is your point? It has, like, Dodger fans getting in there and making the Chiefs' run of dominance about them makes no sense to me. Like, hey, could the Los Angeles Dodgers have a brilliant run in Major League Baseball with a salary cap? The answer is undoubtedly yes.
Yes.
There is no question. They draft well. They develop pretty well. They know how to manipulate. They know how to manipulate loopholes. They're a very, very well-run, smart organization. I have zero doubt, Ben, that if their constraints were given and everyone was zeroed out, that the Los Angeles Dodgers would still be in the mix for the playoffs every single year because of Gomes, because of Friedman, because of their facilities, because of the way that they do business. Zero doubt.
Of course.
But that's not the case right now. This is the extent. I mean, somebody made the point. Does anyone think Patrick Mahomes would still be playing in Kansas City if there was a free market? No, he would be the quarterback.
That is a great point.
He would be the quarterback of the New York Football Giants or the New York Football Jets or the Los Angeles Rams or the
Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what are we talking about here? If it was a free market economy, you're not going to see the Buffalo Bills.
If they had to rely on local TV revenues, there wouldn't even be a Green Bay Packers.
Correct.
I mean, there's just no way. They'd be
no
making
way.
$7 a year in revenue off television in a tiny little town like Green Bay,
Yeah.
whereas, the Rams and the Jets and the Cowboys would be making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But that's not how the NFL works.
Yeah,
They share all the national revenue. They have a salary cap. Every team starts pretty much on an even playing field.
The correlation is just non-existent, and there's no reason to make one sport with completely different set of rules make a comparison between the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And there's nothing inherently bad about a dynasty or a dominant team. What my contention has been is that the Dodgers are sucking the hope out of the rest of the league. I don't think the Chiefs do that. Yeah,
I disagree.
You don't think so?
Everybody in the
They look
AFC is playing for the number 2 seed.
Are you
right
kidding?
now.
They look beatable in every single game they play. I mean, just someone finish it off and win the game at the end.
But they didn't lose.
They didn't, but it's not like, oh, here comes another 45-7 Chiefs win.
They've been to 7 straight AFC championships and 3 straight Super Bowls.
I mean,
what are you talking about?
More power to them, but
They've owned the AFC.
They've also played 17 one-score games in a row.
17, they've won 17. They've won 17.
Who cares? They've won them.
Yeah, they win. They know how to win. But it has nothing to do with their payroll, right?
Not
it has
at all.
Nothing to do with their payroll. It has to do with their
and it's only getting harder for them every year because they keep losing players because they can't keep everybody because of the salary cap.
Yep.
They were more talented 2 years ago. They were less talented when they won it last year, and I think they're even less talented this year. I think the Eagles have a much better roster.
He really is high on the Eagles.
I think the
he
Eagles.
He thinks they're going to blow them out.
I think
in
it's
going to
be a fairly convincing win for the Eagles.
Crazy.
Maybe 10 to 20 points. That's my early take.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
You're
now,
right.
if it's a close game in the end, Chiefs will probably pull it out. I just think the Eagles have too much.
Okay.
Too much on defense, too much Saquon Barkley. And if Jalen Hurts has 2 more weeks to get even healthier, it looked decent.
Yep.
Yesterday, I like the Eagles in Super Bowl 59.
Okay.
But I don't like Ben Verlander's take.
I didn't like it either.
All right, let's go to, speaking of the Eagles, Eagles fans, a car hit and injured 3 pedestrians in a crowd of people leaving the Eagles playoff game last night, according to police. The driver is in custody. At least the collision did not appear to be intentional, but you always hate to see, big crowds coming out of the game, people celebrating, and anything like that happens. Just seems like anytime there's a celebration, something seems to go wrong. I mean, no one climbing up the light poles yet, at least. Did you see that? They were already
Did you not see it?
No, I did not see it. Did they not grease them up so people couldn't climb to the top? Oh, they were
Broad
doing it
Street
again.
was insane. There's people hanging from poles. I mean, it was a mess down there.
Are we sure we're still going? We're going to go to Philly.
I think so.
summer?
I
That's
don't
the
think.
plan.
I think the tickets I got are non-refundable. So I think we do. I think we are locked into that trip in July.
I'm excited, but also a little nervous.
I am as well. It was nuts down there. I will say this though. I do get envious. I get envious of sports towns like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm envious. And you felt it here last year with the Padres. Yeah, there was a lot of that going around. It was bananas down at Petco. This year, I don't know how it's going to be. Might be a little more room to move around, but I just don't know. We haven't seen the final product yet.
Is that what we really crave? I mean, we all
Yeah.
want a championship,
Yeah.
but isn't it just that sense of community, excitement,
Yes.
everybody together?
Yeah. We have, we've had glimpses and
We've had
flashes
it without
of-
winning the championship,
Yeah.
but that's really what we want.
That's what we want.
We want that every October. If you're a football fan, you want it every January. Everybody comes together pulling for their team in celebration and, probably eventually commiseration.
And it's funny because, Zach says in the chat, I think they actually forgot to grease the poles because I saw people, you can't climb to the top of these poles if they're greased.
Right.
And there were dudes hanging from it. It makes me very anxious to watch. You think about if it's my kid out there climbing the poles, like nothing good can come. You'll get 30 seconds of clout. You also break your neck. Just be careful out there. But no, Benny, Broad Street was bananas last night. Bananas. And I mean, what's the productivity in Philly this morning? Zero. I mean, zero. It was crazy, and it's awesome. We all want to be a part of that someday.
Do we have a do this?
I
or
do
should
not.
We just go for
I
another?
saw nothing in the positive in the world of sports.
then never
Well,
mind.
the American that won, I actually watched
Madison Keys.
Madison Keys.
Yes,
I
first
watched
Grand Slam title.
I watched a good piece of that on Saturday morning with the kids. I really, really enjoyed it.
You watched
And,
the replay of it
Oh,
Saturday
did I?
morning. It was over by the time you woke up on Saturday morning. But 19th seeded Madison
19th
Keys
seeded.
upsets number 1 Arina Sabalenka in the Australian Open final to win her first Grand Slam title at the age of 29, which in tennis terms is
It's
actually
a little old, yeah.
a little on the older side
Yeah.
to win your first Grand Slam. On the men's side, Yannick Sinner of Italy won his third Grand Slam title at the age of 23, successfully defending his men's singles title in Melbourne with a win over number 2 seed Alexander Zverev in straight sets early yesterday morning.
Sabalenka is she's very, very vocal when she plays.
She smashes her record.
My kids got the biggest kick out of it of all time. They're
Remember
like, what is
Monica
she doing?
Seles, the grunter, every time she swung. That was like a major sports controversy.
It was
of the
huge in
1990s.
the early 90s, maybe. Yeah.
Like, Monica Seles. Does she make too much noise
Yes.
when she's playing tennis?
Sabalenka took that and ran with it. Or would you be a grunter? You're a flincher. Would you be a grunter playing tennis?
I don't think so.
I think I was just
Pretty quiet.
But you grunt a lot anyway.
Do I grunt when I swing on the golf club? I think I'm fairly quiet.
I think you're quiet.
I look like I might be grunting. It's definitely
It looks painful.
a
Yeah,
kind of
it
a
looks
pain
like,
emotion.
oh, he's so tight.
Yeah.
But she was getting after it. She was getting after it, to be sure.
And that's a don't and a good. Do this, Woods, for a Monday.
Thank you very
That
much.
was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Had a couple of people out at fantasy camp ask me about QC Kinetics, and they always pull me to the side and they go, "Hey, man, you can tell me the real deal." does this really work? And I go, yeah, it absolutely does. And I actually had a guy, Carl, over the week, was getting treatment. I think he said on his elbow at QC Kinetics. He said, first treatment, I feel great. I'm going in for my second treatment today. Yes, QC Kinetics absolutely works. If you're saddled with joint pain like a lot of us are in your knees, your hips, your back, your shoulder, they did work on my wrists. They did a lot of work on my wrists. My wrists are pain-free. Make the decision this year to go into 2025 and start getting back to doing the things that you love to do. If it's the bike, if it's playing golf, if it's surfing, hiking, there's so much to do in San Diego. To live here and not be able to do it is a bit of the torture chamber. So get moving again in 25 with help from QC Kinetics. We're talking about joint preservation, regenerative medicine, advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics, natural solutions like PRP, which attacks the pain from arthritis, strengthening your joints, lubricating your joints, as it were. Tens of thousands of people with pain have discovered these cellular treatments. I'm one of them. We are all living our life, again, without that constant pain. So if you want to learn more about how you can refresh your joints and get lasting relief with these incredible treatments, call QC Kinetics for a free consultation today. Deal with joint pain now. You can make the most of the new year. 619-614-PAIN. 619-614-PAIN. Once again, it's QC Kinetics at 619-614-PAIN. Let them know Woodsy sent you.
Got another contest to tell you about. Welcome back. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. All you have to do is download the Odyssey app and listen to 97.3 The Fan on the app for your chance at the ultimate trip in the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest. All you have to do, download the Odyssey app, log in, listen to this station for at least 1 hour to earn your daily entry into this national contest. The grand prize is travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Las Vegas, plus $5,000 for each person. Now that's $20,000 total to fund the ultimate viewing experience for the first 2 rounds of the college basketball championship tournament. So again, just listen on the app for an hour and you are entered into our national contest. That's a pretty good deal. Coming up. Welcome back. It's Ben and Woods. We will get into more of the NFL action in a minute. However, as I've noticed a lot of people in the chat have noticed, and we were trying to catch up during our breaks, some, I don't know, news, but certainly some interesting stuff dropping on the Union Tribune. Kevin Acee writing this morning about the lawsuit that's going on with Padres and ownership, including a conversation and email thread with Sheel Seidler, trying to get some answers to questions that still linger about her lawsuit against the Seidler brothers that is currently in a Texas courtroom. And I don't know, I'm just scanning this as fast as I can, Woods, to try to glean anything that I can. I don't think there's any definitive answers here. I kind of still feel like in that same no man's land of this is something that's going to have to play out in a courtroom, over however many months or however long this takes.
Yeah, no question. I think what it did, as I'm trying to, again, be on the air and read the article at the same time, it muddies the waters a little bit again. This part is the part that there's 2. Just so you know, if you're a subscriber to the UT, there's 2. There's kind of a question and answer with Sheel, where she responded through email, and then there's a Kevin Acee article that just dropped that's very long and very detailed.
It's kind of like a summary of
summary-ish,
and some thoughts.
This is interesting to me. One person who was close to Peter Seidler, through work they did together having to do with the Padres, said there was no doubt he intended for his children to one day run the team. Another person who was close to Seidler due to their work outside baseball independently used the same phrase, no doubt, when asked if Seidler wanted his children to take over the team at some point. So that is like the first definitive answer that we've gotten from Peter Seidler, I guess.
Right.
That is... There is no question I want my kids to run this team one day. He often spoke about the love his oldest daughter in particular had for the Padres.
But also in the same article, they said there really was no indication that he was going to have Sheel run the team until time
they
for the
were
kids.
ready.
That it was, the kids were eventually going to take the team. And we heard Peter say many times he wanted the team to remain in his family for decades.
Now, family,
we all heard that.
Family is in his case, it's a broad term, right?
And it makes sense, but Kevin Acee said he spoke to people who are not affiliated with the Seidler brothers at all. Other people around the Padres ownership who were there for all the meetings, and they said there was really no indication that Peter wanted Sheel to run the team. Now, yeah, maybe the kids at some point, but not necessarily Sheel in the interim.
Okay, yeah.
Does that mean the opposite then is automatically true, that he did want his brothers to run it?
Not necessarily.
Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you can't just take the full leap. But
you want to talk about, again, making a convoluted issue even more convoluted as this comes out today. Again, I'm trying to get through this right now.
Bill in the chat asked a very salient question. How old are his kids? Very young.
They're young.
They're like 11,
Yeah.
8, and 5 or something like that. I'm kind of estimating, but they're around that age. Far from being able to run a Major League Baseball team. Like decades away, probably, from being able to run a Major League Baseball team.
You turn 18 and congratulations, you're in charge.
Right.
Yeah, and I assume, like most of us, Peter Seidler imagined, even with his health problems, that he had many years to live and get his children ready for it. And
yes,
it was not
as Sheel herself said.
Yeah.
This was an unexpected. It was unexpected at the time, and I did think about this weekend. Here's one thing I can say with 100% accuracy. Knowing Peter Seidler, he would hate this.
Oh yeah,
he would hate all of this. So take that for whatever it's worth. He would absolutely loathe this. What's going on right now?
Does that mean, though, that one side should just back down from the other?
I don't know.
That's the thing. It's like, yes, of course he would hate this. You just wish that there could be like an amicable way to just move on from all of this.
Well, and I think the thing that scares me, and probably a lot of Padre fans out there as well, is it doesn't seem like either side is going to back down or acquiesce. How long does something like this go on? Because, yeah, in a perfect world, the amicability of it all, all right, this has gotten out of control. Let's do this. Let's come to some sort of an agreement, settlement, if you will, and let's move forward. I think there's been a lot of hurt feelings. I think there's been a lot of potential disrespect, and I do feel like at this point, settling it amicably, it feels like a pipe dream. But are we talking 5 years? Are we talking 10 years? Are we talking 12 years? I mean, really, they're going to have to name a control person soon so that the Padres business can go on. Now, the rumor is that it will be John Seidler.
Correct.
And
Peter's oldest brother.
That he is going.
Who is owns a partial owner of the team, has a small share in ownership in the team.
So if and when that happens, somebody needs to hear from him, and that's the thing is all the brothers declined comment for this. No one wanted to talk about this article today. Again, we're just left in the dark again, and it's not. Yeah, it's tough to speculate.
So that's the thing, though. It's probably inappropriate for them to say anything at this juncture because they're not. He's not the control person yet.
Yes.
He's just a contender at the moment, hoping for Major League Baseball approval in the middle of a lawsuit. Probably shouldn't be saying anything until things are a little more settled. But what happens if things aren't settled for months and months?
Who's going to control the okay, if you can take out all of the salacious lawsuit stuff and you just want to get down to business, right? The business of the San Diego Padres in the year 2025. After, again, you've sold out all the season tickets, people are ready for baseball. I'm AJ Preller. I've got a trade. I need it rubber stamped. Who's stamping it? Who is stamping that thing? It's Eric Katsenda probably today, Monday. When is that going to change? Is it going to change? Should it change? Should it be Sheel? Should it be John? That's the thing. And nobody knows. And so it leaves all of us kind of clawing and scratching for answers at this point. And it's not a fun place to be. I'll tell you, it's not fun. If you're talking about the business of the San Diego Padres on the field in 2025, yeah, it's pretty obvious why players are saying on their way out of town, things are screwed up there right now. How do we get some clarity? How do we get some direction on where this team is going to go and how they're going to get there? And it's funny. I've heard a lot of rumors. I've seen a lot of speculation. I knew Peter. I know Tom. That's it. I've never met, heard from, talked to. Didn't even know they existed. Anybody else in that organization, as far as the brothers go. Never saw them, never saw them mentioned, never met them, never heard word one from them. Right? I know Tom Seidler, spent the week with him at fantasy camp, and I knew Peter. And I know Sheel. And that's it. That's the only people that I've ever heard from or talked to. So my perspective is such that until somebody is named that is going to start calling the shots, I look forward to talking to that person. Whenever that person, whoever it is, that's who I want to talk to. And I want to ask them, hey, where do you see this going? Is it possible, Ben, to name a control person while also being in the midst of litigation? I have no earthly idea.
Yeah, these are things that very high level of Major League Baseball that we can't even really speculate on. I have no idea. Rob Manfred's going to have to get involved in some of this at some point. And, I would imagine that it's in the interests of baseball that the Padres business continues somehow.
I would say so.
There's no indication, by the way, that this wasn't always going to happen this offseason as well. That there's some magic, unkey to unlock, and then all of a sudden AJ can add $50 million in payroll and make 15 trades.
No matter who is named.
I don't think no matter who's the owner that was ever going to happen. It was always going to be hey, we got to be pretty careful this offseason sort of plan for the San Diego Padres. So I'm overly surprised with the way things have gone. I'm surprised that there really hasn't been any moves. I thought there'd be a little more activity from that, just knowing AJ's history.
Well, and look, play it through. If you're one of the brothers, right? If you're one of the brothers, or you're John, or whatever. I mean, I think I would be. I'd be in there beating my fist against the table, saying, "Guys, we need to do something. We need to do something. If only to sway public perception a little bit. Like, we need to make sure that we are committed to." And I hate thinking, that's like thinking like a politician. We need to make a move for public perception. What I want to hear from someone is everybody was very clear on what Peter's vision was, and that was to win a World Series. And it wasn't lip service when Peter said it. I didn't feel like it was. Did you guys?
Nope.
So what I think people would want to hear, whether it's from Sheel or Eric or John or Bob or Tom or any of the other brothers, is we are committed to this. We really, really mean it, and here's how committed we are.
Yeah, they've said they want to do it, but obviously, you want to see the roster improving. Now, can they do that? And still maintain?
Well, and so
what Major League Baseball. Remember, there's the component of Major League Baseball is also forcing some fiscal responsibility on the Padres.
Correct.
They're out of compliance with debt service. These were all things that happened before Peter's passing.
Yeah, I mean, and people are bringing it up in the chat. Is it any coincidence that the first time we've gone to arbitration with a player under A.J. Preller's tenure is this year? That's not a coincidence, right? Those are the kind of things that make the fan base untrusting.
Then again, we heard what Michael King said about that.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, I kind of get it because there's no comps to my situation of being a reliever to a starter and what that raise is supposed to be."
But in that little window where because other guys said the same thing and were millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars apart on other team and they got it worked out, we're going to this ARB hearing. Michael King is going to go to an ARB hearing, and A.J. Preller doesn't want to, but he's now got to go. So yeah, when the fan base they're not dumb, man. You start seeing things like that, and you go, well, obviously these guys are going to cheap out.
Yeah, but keep in mind, they also agreed on ARB with a lot of high-priced ARB players.
Yeah,
they had more ARB guys than just about any team in baseball, and they got
it done.
all of them done but one. And perhaps AJ thinks that his offer of 7.3 was pretty darn generous,
fair.
and Michael King just thinks, I think we can do way better, and it's like, AJ's going, no, I think we're on the high end already with 7.3. You can't really even read into that necessarily as a sign of anything.
Well, but again, is it a coincidence that the first ARB hearing comes in the midst of all of this
might be.
garbage?
It honestly might be a coincidence.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
If they had gone to 5 ARB hearings, I would say, oh, yeah, absolutely. There's something going on here. But
that's your take.
The fact that they got Cease done and Arise done, and
listen, those are two of their major trade chips in Cease and Arise. Like, if you're gonna trade those guys, you got to get that ARB thing done.
But that also, if you can win those and lower the salary, that makes them even more tradable. That would almost be a reason. Might as well go to ARB. We're trading you anyway. There's no reason why we shouldn't fight you. We can't even ruin our relationship because we're about to trade you.
Yeah,
that would be a reason to go to ARB because you were thinking of trading those guys, not to sign them. And both guys got a little more than kind of right around what they were expected.
It's going to be a tough one to explain. I think trading either one of those guys or both of those guys.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be tough.
Said it a lot.
Well, it depends on what they get back.
Trade.
And there's just no vision right now. That fans have no vision. I don't know that we know what the vision is. I don't know that you can continue to say it's to bring a World Series. I think even Bob Nutting would say, what we're trying to do is win a World Series. But I don't want to get to the point where my franchise, the franchise that I root for and support, gets to that point where it's just lip service. And like I said, when Peter said it, I believed it. Straight up. You could not convince me otherwise. They have the sign in Peoria hanging over the locker room. One day soon, the gods will smile upon San Diego. We put it in our Christmas card this year. I believe it. I bought it hook, line, and sinker when he said it. I don't know that I necessarily believe it right now today on January 27th. I don't. You got to show us something. You can't. You can say it all you want, Ben. Ben, I want to look like The Rock. Right? I want to look like The Rock. Am I going to put in the work to get there? No, I'm not going to. But I can say it all I want. And it's just not going to happen. So This is a very, very convoluted and muddy conversation, and it's not fun. It's not fun for the fans. It's not what you want in the offseason to try to get fired up for the regular season. All right, last 7 years. Is this the offseason you've loathed the most? Yeah, I was bummed when they traded Juan Soto, but I understood why they had to do it, and I really liked what they got back, so I got over that in a day. This has been 27 days of misery since the year started. Truly. I'm not fired up for the baseball season right now. I'm not. I want to be.
Let's take a quick check of traffic. We can continue this discussion. Obviously, it's a hot button right now among Padres fans. Check traffic. More on the other side here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Heading into Hillcrest, crash on South 163 before Washington Street. Couple cars involved. They're in the center divide, partially in that fast lane, so please take it extra carefully there. Northbound side of the 5 past L Street, there is a collision involving a couple vehicles there over to the right shoulder, and we still have this traffic alert northbound 15. At the 8, 2 right lanes remain blocked with this semi that apparently resulted in a fuel spill, so they have reopened East 8 to northbound 15 and Camino del Rio South on ramp to northbound 15, so a little bit of relief for you there. Also traveling on westbound 8, accident has cleared at the southbound 5 connector ramp. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I do think too, like, I think I sold myself a couple weeks ago when the Michael King stuff came out. I went, oh, well, this is no big deal. They're just going to work on a long-term extension, right, for Michael King. Right, that's maybe that's what they're going to do. They're going to end up coming out and saying, hey, we've actually agreed to a 4-year deal worth blah, 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 which would be, by the way, incredible. You want to get me fired up for the baseball season again? Even though he's not a new player,
that's the thing. It doesn't. That wouldn't change.
Right, he's not a new player.
It wouldn't change the roster at all.
He can't play left field, but I then know going into it, all right, I got this guy for the next 4 years, and he's a stud. He is a stud. So I love him. And not only is he a stud, he's a great dude with a great family, with a great perspective, and he's a hard worker. Like, that gives me a legit 1-2 guy for the next 4 years. I can get excited about that.
We were talking about it earlier. Does it change the strategy at all based on what the Dodgers are doing?
Man.
Does your strategy change? Knowing the Dodgers are just piling players and money and putting together a team that everyone thinks is going to win 110 to 120 games.
Yeah.
There's no realistic way the Padres can go from 93 wins to 115 wins and compete with the Dodgers.
No
matter what they did.
Don't kid yourself.
No matter what they did.
There weren't enough free agents on the market,
honestly,
to get to that.
So
I'll give you that.
What does your strategy become? Is it simply, try to sneak in the playoffs and then hope for,
Try like, my strategy, I think, is because I think there's this natural inclination. I see it with my 7-year-old. When they go out and they play a team in any sport and they look across the field, Ben, and they go, oh no, that's a team full of second graders. They're done. They're domed out. They're like, why are we even going to play this game? These guys are all second graders, right? And there's a disparity between a first grader and a second grader. There really is. It's crazy. And you parents out there, you know it. If your kids play sports, you're like, those guys are men. They have mustaches. My little first grader could never. And they get domed out about it. So I see the natural reaction is to say, well, might as well just punt because of what the Dodgers are doing, but baseball's not wired that way. So I think your strategy has to be, you better compete your ass off in the AL West, and you better find a way into the playoffs with the payroll that you have, the season tickets being sold out, the fever pitch that was here for Padres baseball. You got to make the playoffs. Mike Schilt, you got to play. It's playoffs or bust for the San Diego Padres, and then let's let the chips fall where they may.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But that won't be determined until this summer and how the Padres are actually playing on the field.
And the tough part, though, is I think for fans, and you hear these rumors going around, you trade Dylan Cease to the Braves. How do you make up 180 innings? How do you do that with what you have currently? So, it's that was weird. Eddie Van Halen just showed up. Rest in peace. And just started shredding in my ear. How do you make that up? I don't know.
All right, we'll take a timeout, come back, second half of Ben and Woods on the way. We've got more giveaways.
Some calls, man. You guys can call in.
833-288-0973. We've got Take on Woods coming up as well, all on our 8 o'clock hour. Some more football talks. Stick around. Ben and Woods continuing on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Monday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Benjamin R. Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. And, my wife expressed a little bit of levity while we were at fantasy camp, too. She tweeted something to the effect of, man, as much as I get bummed out, about everything that's going on right now in Padres land, and we all just want peace and harmony, and it's already going to be hard enough to beat that team up north, right, with what they're putting together. It's already going to be hard enough. Let's not make it harder on ourselves and beat the crap out of each other in the fan base and take shots at each other in the media and things like that. It's already going to be hard enough. But she said, as soon as I get bummed out, I think about the guys that we have coming back. I think about sweet little Jackson Merrill, and I feel the same way.
Hi, this is Jackson Merrill.
Hi, Jackson. It was good seeing you at fantasy camp. And yeah, man, of course you're okay, and you're right to be excited about watching that kid play baseball every day. You're right to be excited about watching a healthy Manny play, to watch a healthy Fernando play. You're hoping, you're on your knees, and you're praying for some sort of Xander Bogaerts-like season when he was winning Silver Sluggers with the Boston Red Sox. You're praying and hoping that you get production from a guy like him. You're praying and hoping that the starting rotation can figure it out and stay healthy. You like the bullpen. You're excited about the bullpen. But yeah, man, I'm the levity. Nobody really wants to talk about levity right now. Nobody really wants to talk about it's all emotion. It's just all raw emotion. And I certainly get it because I feel it too. I was so, honestly, yesterday, I had a long conversation with my wife, and I go, this is, and I'm with you guys in a text thread. I said, this sucks. This sucks. This is not fun. Talking about baseball is supposed to be fun. I hated sitting in that next room over there and playing M83 and Walk the Moon. It was peaceful. I was such at peace. I was bored out of my mind. All right, here's Mumford & Sons. I was so bored. But I missed the boredom because talking about this stuff to get ready for a season, a week out of FanFest, a few weeks out of spring training, it sucks. There's just no two ways to look at it.
I don't want to be acting like I'm got my head in the sand or blowing smoke. I get that the Padres have not improved this offseason. They've lost a couple of key players. They haven't made any big additions. But am I totally off when I say it's only the Dodgers that have really lapped the Padres? And they've lapped the field in the National League in terms of talent. We talked a little bit. Do you feel like the Giants who won 80 games last year?
Yeah.
They signed Willy Adames.
Yeah, that's good.
They've gotten better, but they haven't lapped the Padres. The Diamondbacks are a good team.
They're a good team.
They're going for it. They're a real threat. But I don't see them as like head and shoulders better than the Padres. I look at the Brewers. I look at, the Cubs are kind of going. They were 83 win. They've made some nice moves. Yeah, I lump all of these teams together, and the Dodgers are in their own universe.
They're in a stratosphere.
And the Padres
don't even worry about them.
Are in the universe with the other teams, the 89 win Braves. The Mets got Juan Soto. They won 89 wins. They're absolutely a threat. But I still lump the Padres in with all these teams.
Well, you're not the only one. I mean, I saw on Friday some power rankings or something. It's funny, Woods, who hates power rankings, now bringing up power rankings. But I disagreed with them. It had the Padres as like number 5, and I looked at that and I go, I know that I'm enveloped in pain and doomerism right now. But I said I can't see how a logical person could look at this team as it stands today and say they're the 5th best team in baseball. Am I insane? I don't feel that way. I would put them, honestly, I'd put them 12. I'd say that's fairly accurate based on what we have. And it's not a lack of trust.
Which would still be a playoff team.
Yeah, it could still be a playoff team. So I just, the emotion of it all is just tough. Now, you just mentioned, they signed Willy Adames and they went out and got Corbin Burns. What have we done? We've done nothing. We've lost our heart and soul in Jerks and Profar. We went to ARB with Michael King. It's got the fan base in shambles. We're talking about trading Dylan Thief.
Spinal.
Fast, Paulie. That was fast.
Dylan Thief.
I broke my back.
Thief.
Spinal.
Dylan Thief, by the way. We're talking about trading Dylan Cease and Luis Arias. And yeah, man, if those things happen, it's going to be rough.
I mean, the goal going into this season,
pull it.
The goal is to be somewhere between the second and seventh best.
The second and the
seventh best NL team.
Yes,
and make the playoffs.
Are we there today? I don't think we are.
Are there 7 other NL teams that are better than the Padres right now?
As it stands, yeah, you have no idea.
Know.
My gut tells me the answer is yes. My gut just says yes. But I had them at 81 wins last year, and they won 93. So I do believe in our manager. I believe in our coaching staff. These are all positives.
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
Good, Shilty. If I sit down and do the old pros and cons list, which I've done mentally at least, there are some pros on there. One pro went to Atlanta. Well, there's one fewer pro than there used to be, literally and figuratively. There are some pros on that. We're not the Marlins, for the love of God, but that's also not the window we want to be in either. We've both spent the same in free agency, by the way, as I mentioned on Friday.
I mean, the day we come in and start saying, hey, at least we're not the Marlins,
it's a tough look.
I think I'm out.
So the thing is, though, Benny, you mentioned a couple of these moves that the other teams have made. Wouldn't it go a long way to get just one? Wouldn't it be some sort of like Bactine on a cut? Some sort of salve to just get one kind of fairly premier free agent that you thought would help. I think it would go. I think you'd start seeing the shift on Twitter and social media instead of, oh, we're dead, we're toast to, okay, we got this guy, we ride. I think you start to see a lot more we rides.
Emotionally?
Yes. Emotionally, yes.
In actual roster improvement, I mean, I don't think there's anything out there
that's the problem.
There's more than a very marginal improvement. You can't you can't fundamentally change what this team
Not
is.
with what's left out there,
Nor
in my
were you
opinion.
ever going to. Even if you brought back Profar and Kim and
Higgy,
you were still not going to fundamentally change much, from what the team was going to be. We're still going to be the, 6th, 9th, and 10th best players on the roster. You still have the main core that you were going to have. You'd still have
but the complementary pieces are not there right now. The depth is a huge concern.
And I still think you have to work at some point here to replace some of what you lost on the edges. You still need a left fielder. You still need another catcher.
You want to replace them in the aggregate. Is what you want to do. That's what you're trying to do here.
You're not replacing Jason Giambi in the aggregate. I mean, you're replacing Ha-Sung Kim in the aggregate.
Yep.
It's not as big of an ask.
And Profar and Kyle Higashioka and Donovan Solano and David Peralta.
Yep.
And Joe Musgrove.
Yep.
Who you lost for the year.
Somebody did the WAR comparison, and we've lost 10, 12, 10 to 15 WAR. You got to figure out a way to get that number down a little bit. And then, again, hoping for more WAR from guys like Xander and Crony and a healthy Manny.
Healthy Arise.
And Jackson doing, even close to what he did last year in his rookie year. So that's the thing is, if you look at it as a math problem, we are in the negative, right? We've lost way more WAR than we've gained. And you got to figure out how to get that number.
The Padres realize that as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
But just signing someone to say you've signed someone to appease the fan base is rarely like smart baseball.
Well, no,
it may be smart PR.
No, I'm saying at this point, just one kind of move that would help is just a little bit of a salve on the cut. It's like I cut my hand, I put this on there. I'm gonna bandage it up and feel a little bit better. We have really nothing to look forward to right now. Off season wise, we've done nothing. So, yeah.
I mean, we've got about 2 weeks until pitchers and catchers. A little over 2 weeks until pitchers and catchers report.
But holy cow! With all this stuff going on, do we feel like it's going to get done?
I obviously the Padres are not going to make a massive increase in payroll between now and the start of the season. That is clear. Can they improve the team between now and the start of the season? I think they can. I think there are ways to do it. Even if you do trade a Cease or an Arise, if you make the right kind of moves and add some players, you may be able to improve the team between now and then. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll certainly see how A.J. Preller had to work hard with his hands tied behind his back last offseason.
Can he do it again? Is he going to get the chance to do it again? Is he going to get the legit chance to go out and do it again? We'll see.
I mean, did he have what chance did he have last year?
What do you mean?
I mean,
he was able to go out and trade Juan Soto.
Yes.
He was able to go out and sign guys, again, Solano, Peralta. He was able to go out and trade.
Would you
his
agree that
prospects
Juan
for
Soto was a bigger player on the team than either Arise or Cease?
Worth 4 of them. Yeah.
Yet they traded Juan Soto and became a better team.
Correct.
After he was traded.
Correct.
Is it not possible that they could trade one of those guys and become a better team after the trade? It depends on who they acquire.
It depends on what he gets back. It's crazy to me nothing's happened yet, but maybe again he hasn't had the deal that he wants yet, but we'll see.
All right, we got some phone calls on the line. We can get to those, although we're supposed to do Take on Woods coming up next. So
let's do the phone calls. We can push Take on Woods.
All right, we can push Take on Woods. We did it last week. It's fine. That's fine. All right, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973 if you want to join us and continue our discussion here. First, though, want to tell you about Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money sports action right now with over 10 million members and billions in dollars awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy accessible to everyone, and with the big game coming up in less than 2 weeks, you can already start setting your lineups for your favorite Kansas City, Philadelphia players, looking ahead to what you've got. There are options all over the place. Saquon Barkley, rushing touchdowns, Travis Kelce, receiving yards. You can put them into your lineups between 2 and 6 players and win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. I'm setting lineups each week. College basketball is big for me. Maybe you're a pro basketball fan. They've got daily options to set lineups there as well. You can even mix sports together. If you're watching a football game and a basketball game, combine them together, create your own lineups. And when you sign up at the Prize Picks website, download the app and use the code KWFN to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly using the code KWFN when you play your first $5 lineup at Prize Picks. Really easy, really simple. You get your winnings quickly. I've already downloaded some of my winnings to Venmo. You can use MasterCard as well. Really easy to set up your account and get playing today with Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. All right, Woods, you put the call out for calls.
Yes.
And, we've got some on the line. 833-288-0973. I'm getting blasted by a few people on Twitter. That's okay. I'm not trying to make the argument that we should all be thrilled about the Padres offseason. It's not a lot of fun. But I do believe the Padres are still on a similar talent level to other teams in the NL that aren't named the Dodgers. And now it'll be decided, we'll see what happens on the field.
Yeah.
There's definitely less margin for error. Padres, in the last couple of years, they could survive an injury to, Tatis for a couple of months, to Xander Bogaerts for a couple of months.
The depth is toast
they
right
had
now.
better depth. Now they don't. Now the margin for error is a lot smaller. But, as you said, they get good seasons, from some of their star players. Still will have, I think, a pretty good year.
I mean, it's a lot. I think every fan base is going through this right now, going, well, if so-and-so, if Acuna comes back and Strider comes back and everyone's healthy, great, they're fine. There's only one team in baseball that can withstand Tyler Glasnow's arm exploding and Shohei Ohtani's arm popping out of socket. It's the Dodgers. They're 9 deep in the rotation. They're 30 deep in the bullpen. They're deep at every position. There's one team that can withstand injuries that will most definitely come. I'm very worried about the depth on this team.
Me too. Me too.
If Xander gets hurt,
give A.J. Preller some truth serum. He's probably worried about it.
He's terrified. The depth. I mean, so much has to break right for you to win a World Series. So much has to break right for you to get into the playoffs. And right now, you try to go into the season with as much depth as you can. They haven't added a ton other than minor league depth. So that's where we're at.
All right, 833-288-0973. Look who answered the call. I got to meet Jeff out at Fantasy Camp.
Yeah.
Was out there last week. Got Tier 1 Jeff in here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Loved meeting you last week. Getting a bear hug from Woods was probably one of the top 10 moments of my life. I definitely didn't cry later. But two quick things. One, we're all 0-0 right now. I'm tired of the doomsday. No one has won anything. No one has won the World Series in 2025. We're dead even. Anything can happen. Two, have we considered that maybe the fact that we're not making a lot of moves right now is a strategy, and that if we can hang around until the deadline and then add payroll, maybe that's what the front office is thinking?
Potentially, yeah, potentially. I think, there's a couple of different ways to look at it. And I think Kevin Acee, I'll be honest, I think he pissed some people off yesterday when he talked about, January anger is misplaced. Bro, this is not, and I like Kevin, but this is not I'm mad in January because my team hasn't done anything. This is, I'm mad in January because our owner passed away. I'm mad in January because there's a lawsuit going on in the state of Texas. I'm mad in January because the fan base is cannibalizing itself. I'm mad in January because we also haven't made any moves despite all of that other stuff that's going on. So I think it's okay to be angry in January if you're a San Diego Padres fan. I also think it's okay to be angry in January if you're a Seattle Mariners fan who doesn't have unrest going on and they still haven't improved the offense there. I think it's okay to be mad in January if you're the Baltimore Orioles and you're one of those fans with, by the way, shiny new ownership that is so excited to allegedly spend money, but you let Corbin Burns walk and you've lost in the first round of the playoffs the last 2 years. Why didn't we add to make? I think January anger is absolutely in the right spot.
Well, I think when Kevin Acee makes the point that Dylan Cease wasn't acquired until late March.
Sure,
Luis Ariz didn't come until May. But I don't see the Padres having the capital to make those kind of moves.
Yeah, they don't have that
used
capital.
A lot of their minor leaguers to already make those trades.
And now you're talking about trading 2 of those guys potentially that you use that capital to get.
For more minor
leaguers or depth pieces or whatever. So that's where the January anger comes from. By the way, speaking of Jeff, real quick, that guy went to fantasy camp. He had never played baseball in his entire life ever.
That's bold.
It's insane.
Not even like Little League.
No, he never played baseball before, and he's out there playing left. He robbed me of one. He's pitching. He was having the time of his life. So. It was it was like inspirational. It made me remember. And then I got pissed off at him because he's fast and athletic. I'm like, you dummy, what were you doing? Were you running hurdles or something? Like, Go play baseball when you were a kid. What were you doing? He was really good. He'd never swung a bat before.
Jeff, I'm glad you got your bear hug from Woods and your tepid fist bump from me.
Yeah, very tepid.
As we tend to do. Let's go to Alex. You are next up here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning, buddy.
Hey, listen. Yeah, I'm not sure that we're, like, looking at this in the right way.
All right, shoot.
Like, when we got ownership problems, that's obviously a fact. But just getting into the playoffs is like such a low expectation for the amount of money that we've invested. So
do you?
I'm not sure.
When you say getting, because yeah, I mean I get what you're saying, and I hear that argument a lot of like, no, we should win the West. Is that a reasonable request as it stands today, in your opinion, as a Padres fan?
Well, the way I see it is that we shouldn't like be trying to just get in to the playoffs. I think we need to like expect more.
Okay. I think I know where your head's at.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're saying.
I think
I don't disagree
the
with you.
view around Major League Baseball nowadays is that all you can control, like go back to Moneyball, all you can control is putting a team together that gets into the playoffs. And once you get to the playoffs, it's kind of random, some random chance.
So
Are you guys
random.
hot? Are they healthy? Do you get good pitching? Do you not get good pitching? I'm not saying that you should be happy that the Padres sneak in and get swept in the wild card series 2-0. I think what they're saying is if you get in the playoffs, you've got a chance to win the World Series.
And
wild
if you
cards,
don't, you don't.
83 teams have won the World Series. Just because you win your division and win 108 games doesn't guarantee you anything either.
Yeah.
You can't win the World Series unless you get into the playoffs.
Correct. And I again, setting that as a goal, okay, I mean, you can go either way. I mean, do Pirates fans really think they're going to go out and win the World Series? Do they? No. But do I think that the San Diego Padres, with a couple of moves, could make the playoffs? Yes. And once you make the playoffs, anything can happen. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to ride up on the big board, win the West, win the World Series, fine. I'm okay with that. It should be your goal. But I think as trying to speak realistically about the team, I think the AL West is won, in my opinion. It's already won.
NL West.
The NL West. That's the second time I've done that. The NL West is already won.
I think Mike Schilt has an interesting, like, what does he do in spring training?
No kidding.
Like, hey, we're going to go out and win the West. I mean, I think he gets some eye rolls, and like, really, we're going to go out and beat that Dodgers team. It's an odd spot to be in.
I mean,
you can't really go, all right, we're going to wild card. We're going
I know
for the wild
it's
card
very,
here.
very tough. I think, in baseball too, let's win today and we'll see what happens tomorrow. I mean, we'll try to win this game today and go for it. But I think if you're setting goals, yeah, of course. You want to win the World Series. And can you? Yes, but not without making the playoffs first. So I just think it's one of those kind of, you have to say it. Is it lip service? Maybe.
All right, I'm not only getting ripped for my Padres takes, I'm also getting ripped for my Chiefs takes.
Yeah, as you should have, I think.
I want to talk about the controversy, the fourth down play
Well, there's
that
a
everyone
few.
was discussing. Yeah, there were a few. We can get into some NFL talk. Coming up here next on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, listen, what would you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. It's Woodsy here wanted to tell you that they are the leader in quickly converting your home's equity into cold hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start your home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money, guys. Use it. One client got $150,000 out, paid off the credit card, and 2 car loans, personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. So you are listening right now. You're a homeowner. You can get approved in as little as a day. Act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 619-207-4336. Get the money you need for anything. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. I think you have a slight fetish for it. I really do. I'd like to get you on my couch sometime.
I know. The fix is in for the Kansas City Chiefs.
No,
Saw it a million times this week.
No, I think that you have a sick fetish for getting dragged online. I go the opposite way. I've learned the key to peace and tranquility is never read the comments. And I'm learning that. I'm not great at it, but I'm about 50% better than I was 2 years ago. And if I tweet something, saw some guy going at me this weekend, and I didn't engage. And I thought, and it bugged me. I'm not going to say it didn't bug me, but I didn't engage. And that's a big step forward for me. I think that you like it secretly.
I don't like getting dragged. Not a masochist.
I beg to differ.
But I do.
Why did you ask me to drip hot candle wax on your back when we were at fantasy camp?
I do feel
just to help him get to sleep. He said.
Yeah. I do feel that sometimes
they
can feel at home.
I do feel sometimes the unpopular take is the correct one. And
well, no, you feel like your take is always right.
Well, everyone feels like their own take is always right.
I don't know about that.
Why would you have the take if you thought it was wrong? No one thinks, you know what? I've got a really wrong take, and I'm just going to spew out there.
See, I can't discern.
Some people do. They've made very lucrative
They've
TV
millions of
careers out
dollars
it.
on that. And I do feel sometimes
Do the Chiefs get the benefit of the officiating in the National Football League?
I think the answer is unquestionably yes.
Oh, absolutely it is.
Is that new in sports? No, it's not. It's not.
Most championship, big star teams tend to get the benefit of the doubt. You'd be surprised. If you look at the stats the last couple of years, who gets better ball strike calls for their hitters than any other team in baseball? You know who gets more calls in their favor than any other team in baseball from umpires? It's the Padres. Padres had more bad calls in their favor.
Feel like it.
I know it doesn't feel like it, but if you look at the pitch tracking data, that's the thing. When it's your team, you always when you don't like the team, you always say, "Oh, they get
all the calls."
They get all the calls. When it's your team,
blew my mind. I'm
you
going
don't feel
back
that way.
I'm going back now. That's accurate.
Yeah,
that's really accurate. Can you post your sources?
I'll look. I read that recently, and it's marginal. It's
yeah.
It's going to go up and down every year. It's a little bit random, but Padres tend to get more calls at home plate than other teams, especially their batters. Manny, Tatis. Xander. Umpires see a star like Patrick Mahomes, and, probably tend to give them the benefit of the doubt sometimes. That is not a crazy take. So when you're out there saying the Chiefs are getting some good calls, that is true.
But are you telling people? You're telling people to kind of grin and bear it. I mean,
I don't think the NFL is egregiously cheating because they want the Chiefs to win, though. Why would they want the Chiefs to win? They don't make more money if the Chiefs win.
No, they're going to clean house on the Super Bowl regardless.
Seems like they're just angering people. So why not? Hey, if everyone wanted Buffalo to win, and it seemed like everyone outside of Kansas City was cheering for Buffalo, if I was running a business and I could really, pull the puppet strings and I'm manipulating everything, wouldn't you want to make people happy and go, all right, let's make sure Buffalo wins this game and make everyone really happy and everyone wants to see the Bills win the Super Bowl? Why would you want to make everyone angry and tell, hey, we got to make sure the Chiefs are in there in that Super Bowl again. We can't let the Buffalo Bills get in. Are you kidding me? Everyone wanted to see the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. I don't think there's any nefarious plot to help the Chiefs. I think, like human nature, they get some calls because, well, they're used to getting calls, and referees are used to giving them some calls, and that's just how it's worked the last couple of years.
It's pretty wild, though. I mean, you guys all saw Adam Schefter's tweet yesterday, right? And he's gotten crushed for this. For all those complaining that Patrick Mahomes gets too many calls, relief soon could be on the way. NFL Replay Assist is expected to expand this offseason into plays that could include the quarterback slide. And he listed, some numbers as far as the calls that they've gotten. Look, there's a couple of ones. The thing about the NFL, and really Major League Baseball umpiring too, is I think consistency is always key. If you're consistent with calls, okay, I think fans can live with that. The one that I didn't really notice in the moment, because I was busy with my kids, but I went back and watched it. The Travis Kelce taunting penalty was insane. You guys saw, you can't do what he did. Guy catches the touchdown, and Kelsey runs right up to him and sticks his face right in his face and dances around, points at him, clearly taunting. Then Oliver, I think from the Bills, came up and put his head on Kelsey's face mask. Kelsey flops and he gets the flag. And I'm like, the ref is right there. He's right there. It's these little weird calls. It's that first down. Like, everybody thinks Josh Allen got that first down. That changed the game, man.
So
that's a turnover on downs.
That was the call that everyone was losing their mind over. I saw a lot of takes on Twitter, though, that even from some people who said, I was pulling for the Bills, but he had the ball in his right hand. I don't think he got it quite to the 40.
Listen, when Sammy Levitt tweets out, that's a first down, guys, what are we doing?
Ultimately, it's impossible. It's even impossible for the officials who are there to tell within an inch or two of how far that ball advanced. And we go back, and Andrew Brandt, former Green Bay Packers president, now, NFL media, Sports Illustrated, Business of Sports, says it's still amazing that a league with a $22 billion annual revenue stream measures first downs in 2025 with two refs figuring out where to spot the ball from 25 yards away and a couple of guys with two sticks and a chain.
Yeah, it is wild. It is wild. But I don't know, man. Like, these are such huge calls in the moment. And the other thing, too, I thought about it. I mean, I bet on the games. I had the Bills +2. What'd they lose by? They lost by 3. Like, it's really, really tough. And that's on me. I got to be smarter and better about knowing, hey, man, it's the Chiefs at home in the playoffs. Lay the 2 points. They're going to get a couple of calls that swing it in their favor. And I'm not a big conspiracy theory tinfoil hat guy. I don't think it's because of Taylor Swift, as Daniel in the chat says. I just think, like you said, I watched Michael Jordan play. I watched Jordan get calls. I was there in Chicago when they were on their run. Yeah, but I'm
a Lakers fan. Lakers got all kinds of calls.
Course.
Kobe got tons of calls.
Of course, but guys were also very, very good, much like the Chiefs.
Yes.
They're not a bad football team that wins because they get calls. They're a great football team who can you almost feel like it's easy money betting on them. That's why you're picking the Eagles. You're high on the Eagles. What's the early line on it?
Gotta be 2. Chiefs by 2.
Chiefs -2.
I'm hammering that because of what I just saw yesterday. I'm hammering that. I mean, those are game-changing calls yesterday, and non-calls, as in the Travis Kelce situation.
I think there are some logistics that people haven't considered. Everyone says microchip the football, and it has a grid, and it shows you exactly how far the football advanced. Well, the football's not like a perfect circle. It's you don't know, even with a microchip in the center. Now, did the nose of the football get where it was supposed to get across the goal line, or was it does the center of the football now have to get there? If you change the rules, put a microchip right in the center.
Just put it on each end of the football.
Okay, but what happens if the football's sideways? Then the bulging end of the football is the one that actually got further. Make it the center of the football. There's a microchip, and that's where the ball is spotted where the center of the football gets to.
No, but they measure the cone. They don't put the ball oblong. They don't put it sideways
right.
when they measure.
Well, you'd have to change the rules. If you were going to microchip the football, it's how far the microchip gets would have to be the new rule. So wherever it is, you could put it at the 2 ends and just say, hey, whatever end got the furthest.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
That's where it is.
Now, there's also always going to be the human element. What happens if a guy runs to the 10, but stutter steps back to the 11? Officials have to decide
where does it forward progress.
Is it really as far as the forward progress said? When did we blow the whistle? Did he get another yard after the whistle was blown? Does the chip know when exactly the whistle is blown, and that's where it's dead? And there's a lot of logistics that would go into a microchipped football. Is the technology good enough to even accurately down to an inch or two show where the football would be on a field?
Will it be better than what we have right now?
Probably.
The answer is unequivocally yes.
How about the other game and the other weird rules issue that we saw in the Commanders-Eagles game at the goal line?
My God.
I want to talk about that one.
Do we have the audio? I'll try to.
Coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Some very wet roadways causing plenty of problems this morning, guys. Westbound King Freeway near College. There is a collision over to the right shoulder. Also, eastbound 8 before Taylor Street. Vehicle struck the center divide. Now it is sitting in the fast lane. Also going to find on the southbound 15 before Adams Avenue, a stalled car in the center divide. Looks like they're trying to run a brake to get that cleared over to the right shoulder. And a spin out on the coastline, southbound 5 before Las Pulgas. This is in the center divide, partially in the fast lane. Stop by into the 30, San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. Usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. And Kelly Danek, San Diego's country station, 103.7 KSON.
All right. I mean, it's close. If you don't
Now
know,
Mork and Wallen.
Just guess.
Luis in the chat says, Ben does not comprehend how microchips work. Ed Money says, Ben is a sports anchor. He is not tech savvy. I'll let both of you know. I know exactly how microchips work. Magic. They work by magic.
Wow.
How else can something that tiny run my computer other than magic?
It's got to be a better way. Got to be a better way for spotting the football. There just has to be. There has to be. And it does. It looks so antiquated. Then again, I also feel if there's technology in place to make the home plate umpire's life easier and better, why wouldn't you take it and run with it, even if it's imperfect? It's very imperfect as it stands today. And I, as an umpire, would be elated if they said, Woodsy, got a new thing. Yes, you're going to still be behind home plate, but guess what? You don't have to call balls and strikes. They're going to put it up on the big board. Do you know how happy I'd be? You could get drunk before games. Nobody's going to care. You could literally, I had 14 drinks last night, but doesn't matter. Verlander's on the mound, and it's going to tell me what I'm doing. I just got to get through these 9 innings, and I'm good to go. I just don't understand why you wouldn't take the technology.
Lieutenant Frank Drebin would be 100% accurate behind the plate.
100%.
So the other rules issue, which I had no idea either. One had any idea what was going on in the Eagles-Commanders game at the goal line when the Eagles are getting closer and closer, and the Commanders
what's coming.
Keep jumping off sides, trying to stop the tush push, and there's no other really way to stop it other than just guessing correctly and timing perfectly. And offsides 1, offsides 2,
leaping over the defensive line and the offensive line, just flying over both sides.
Sean Hockley then starts making the announcements, hey, you keep doing this, it's going to be a personal foul penalty on sportsmanlike conduct. Then he goes, do it again, we could just give the Eagles points.
I got some of the audio because Gene Steratore came on, I think it was Gene, right? Came on to the broadcast and said exactly that, and then it happened.
Well, interestingly enough, you got a situation here. If these are deliberate, and you heard Sean Hockley say that it could lead to an unsportsmanlike conduct call, it could also lead to awarding a score if it happens multiple times like this.
It's incredible.
So we'll hear what Sean has to say.
Encroachment, defense number 93. Washington has been advised that at some point the referee can award a score if this type of behavior happens again. For now, it's a replay of second down.
That's
unbelievable. Yeah, it was the tone.
It's how he said it, like a dad.
Big third-grade teacher energy.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't quit this behavior soon, I'm going to take the football. There's no more football. You guys can't play anymore.
Brian says in the chat, at the end of the day, the games are played by humans. It should be officiated by humans. Sure. Yeah, you can still have officiating by humans. And that's why you have holding calls and pass interference. They're not going to do that with a chip or anything like that. But when it comes to things like in tennis, in, out, and when it comes to things like ball strike, when it comes to things like spotting a ball, if the technology can make it more accurate, you take that and you run with it.
So the interesting thing about the offsides, goal line awarding a score rule that I had never heard of before yesterday either, like the rest of you, is it immediately made perfect sense to me when he explained it. Let's say it comes down. Let's Super Bowls down to the last, 30 seconds, and the Eagles have the ball at the 1 foot line, and it's first down. And the only way you can stop and win the Super Bowl is by stopping them.
Stop the tush push.
Why wouldn't you just guess every time? There's no punishment.
No punishment
for guessing. It just keeps
the ball from the 1 yard line to the half yard line to the quarter yard line.
At some point, it's an imperceptible penalty. But let's say after the 6th one, and you keep jumping Finally, like, the center twitches. And then what? It's a 5-yard penalty back the other way. Changes the game completely.
Right.
So there's an incentive for the defense to
just dive.
continue to take offsides, diving penalties. Maybe you force a turnover. Maybe eventually the home team, the offensive team commits a penalty, and then they move it back. So why wouldn't you just do that over and over and over and over again? So
And there's
the NFL had to have some sort of way to stop a defensive team from doing that at the goal line.
There's an argument to be made, and I did see this yesterday. A lot of people calling for the banning of the tush push. All right, fine. Like, if that's they change the rules all the time in the NFL.
But then what are you going to ban quarterback sneaks?
That's the thing. But like, you look how the Eagles execute their tush push, and then you look at how the Bills try to execute theirs. I'd say just get better at doing it, because Josh Allen absolutely screwed himself on at least 3 occasions yesterday by them not being able to execute a tush push with this behemoth of a quarterback. This big, strong, burly quarterback couldn't get an inch, couldn't get a yard, whatever it was. I would say get better at it until they ban it.
I'd say if you're facing the Eagles, can't let them into 3rd and less than 1, 4th and less than 1 situations.
Crazy. It's
I mean,
crazy.
if you want to beat them, that's basically what you got to do.
Satan's Blowfish says the Eagles make it look unstoppable. The Bills make it look like a dumb play call. That's exactly right. Exactly.
And
right.
I would say that, a big difference going back to the Chiefs-Bills game, coaching was definitely in favor of the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah. Dude, their defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, is absolutely the best in the business. I mean, he is the best in the business. What he had dialed up in certain instances last night. Think about the last play.
The last 4th down. Had saved something for that last play.
My God. The pressure was on Allen like this.
Because it was something they hadn't really seen the whole game.
Yep.
And then they dialed it up, and Allen, is running for his life, chucks up a prayer.
A duck.
And amazingly, Dalton Kincaid was actually there. And
Comes back
I've seen
for
this
it.
debate as well. Did Dalton Kincaid drop that ball? Was that a ball he should have caught?
Kind of.
I'd say he's lucky to get a hand on it. He was coming back. It was floating through the air.
4 Chiefs around
defenders
him.
in front of him.
But did it go right through his arms?
It did.
Kind of, yeah.
It
I
did.
mean, it kind of did.
He'd tell you he should have caught it, even though it wasn't one of those design plays like he runs a 5-yard comeback and it hits him right in the hands and he boots it.
Like, if you want to compare it to the Mark Andrews drop
Different.
from the week before,
Yeah, different.
I thought that was much more
that was a perfectly
he catches
executed
that
play, right
999
where it
out
was
of 1,000.
supposed to be.
Yep.
Yeah, you catch that one. This was a completely busted play that just happened to end up in a spot where, a lot of guys do make that catch. NFL play, is it an easy catch? No.
When you have a
He's
broken down
diving.
play like that, and
You're
Josh
coming
Allen
back
is
to the ball.
falling down and still gets it anywhere even close to you, and you get your hands on it, you're like, oh.
Again, man, I go back to the details that the Chiefs are so good at. Again, go back and watch the first series for each team. Watch how Josh Allen, he broke a big run. Did you watch how Josh Allen carried the football? Josh Allen carried the football way out here, and I'm like, bro, you are begging.
Yeah, they didn't turn the ball over.
I know,
ever.
but they're the details. Patrick Mahomes, his team, they're locked in, man. They are locked in. I don't see how there's any way the Eagles win this one. I really don't. It's I've got to get in now while the points are still pretty good. I think it's an easy win. I think they're going to three-peat.
I think the Eagles have a solidly more talented overall roster.
Crazy.
We'll see.
I think that's crazy
the
talk.
Chiefs still have the coaching advantage and the Patrick Mahomes, so they're not out of it. But I could see the Eagles getting up 10 and not letting it come down to the final play. This segment of Ben and Woods brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. They're recruiting professionals utilizing award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. Don't forget, our first name in our biggest fan contest is coming up at the top of the hour. So if you've put your name in at the website, 973thefansd.com/biggest fan, be listening when we come back to chance to qualify for the night in the Odyssey Suite at Petco Park. We'll come back with more. We still have to get to take on Woods in his final hour as well, and a Reindl Report. So a busy final hour coming up on 97.3 The Fan. All right, it's 9 o'clock, and it is time. I will waste no time and get right to it. It's the first name in our biggest fan contest. Remember, we'll have more names this afternoon. I believe it's at 1 o'clock and 5:30, or 1:30 and 5:30. I don't have it on my timesheet right now. But the first name in our biggest fan contest is Carlos Reindl from Escondido.
I know that dude.
Carlos, give us a call back within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973. You'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggestfan. Listen to Annie and Elston and Gwen and Chris later today for the next two names as we get our contest underway. Carlos, you're on the clock.
All right, warmest congratulations to a friend of the program. Our beloved Adam Jones has landed a new gig, my friends. He is the special advisor to the GM and community ambassador for the Baltimore Orioles. Very happy. I texted him this morning. I said, congrats on the gig. He said, thanks, my man. Definitely something I've been wanting. That's no secret. He wants to be around the game more, and I love it. I love that move for them, and I guess that means we probably lose him, right? I would imagine. Check in with him a couple times a year, but
yeah,
you know,
I don't know. Does he have to move back from Barcelona?
I would imagine. You can't
I have no idea.
But I know he bought a house here too, so it's very convoluted for these guys. For a lot of these dudes, I don't know how they do it. But yeah, good for him, man. Gets to be around, the organization that he came up with, and be an advisor to the GM there, and be the community ambassador. That's a good gig, I think, if you can get it in retirement. That's a really good gig. So congrats to him. Very happy for him.
Couple of other baseball stories. Wanted to talk about the Cubs move yesterday. Cubs-Astros trade. Reportedly, Ryan Presley.
Yes.
Going from the Astros to the Cubs, and he had to waive his no-trade clause.
Yes, he did.
To facilitate this deal. Now, the Astros are trying to shed some salary because they're hoping to still re-sign Alex Bregman. And like the Padres, they're trying to stay kind of under the luxury tax. They're very similar, actually. I was looking at the finances, and both teams are right around the same in payroll, luxury tax numbers. And to get rid of Presley, they had to convince him to waive his no-trade clause. The Cubs are going to pay, I think, $8.5 million of Presley's salary. So the Astros get a little bit lower in the CBT and potentially could use that to at least open the door to re-sign Alex Bregman.
Okay. I still saw, after you brought it up, I still saw a couple of rumors of Bregman to the Dodgers, which is just insane to me.
That was the hot take last week from ESPN that, I'm sure Bregman's camp loves to hear that.
Oh,
because
yeah.
That only drives up the price, but
it's funny. I mean, Dodger fans would have to root for, be like the Padres getting Matt Holliday. At some point you'd have to root for a guy that you've absolutely loathed.
It's funny because the Astros are actually in similar situation to the Padres in that they had a great TV deal. They were getting like $73 million a year, and in 2023 it kind of got blown up. It wasn't Diamond Sports. It was it was AT&T, but it ended up getting blown up. They're now down to about $50 million a year, so it's like $23 million less that they're dealing with, even though they're in the 8th biggest media market in the country.
Yeah.
And, they have a pretty good following down there in Houston, and they've won 2 World Series titles recently. But to you, that makes all the difference in the world. That once they have their World Series titles,
yes,
you're not as concerned about luxury tax and payroll stuff as you are when you're trying to pursue your first one.
I was pretty hot, like letting a Kyle Tucker go from the Houston Astros is insane to me. He's a homegrown guy. You've got him. He's a star, a stud, and they don't want to pay. They don't want to do long-term deals. My answer to that is why? Why not? Let's Kyle Tucker. Like you keep a Kyle Tucker on your roster. But again, I think with a couple of World Series under your belt, you do feel those moves are a little bit more palatable. Not that they're the right moves. I hate them, and Alex Bregman, frankly, should have been locked up already. If you're the Houston Astros, he's a cornerstone of your franchise. And so I understand the business of baseball, certainly. But again, that's 2 guys that you can't let leave your franchise, in my opinion, in Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker. And there's a chance that actually both of them end up going. And that's unfortunate, Benny. And, but again, they got a couple of rings. They're going to retool. They're good at retooling. They're good at developing pitching and things like that. So where they lack maybe in signing those guys long-term, you feel pretty strong about the organization moving forward.
Would you consider Pete Alonso to be one of those guys that the Mets franchise can't let leave the organization
that's
as
what
well?
That's what I thought. That was my perception, being a million miles away on the West Coast. My perception was you don't let Pete walk. You were in it last year. You got Juan Soto. Yeah, you have money. You're Steve Cohen. You bring Pete Alonso back.
It's interesting because the Mets had their, fan fest or their version of it over the weekend, and Steve Cohen pretty blunt about it. His fans started, chanting, "We want Pete." Yep. He was doing like a fireside chat on stage, and here's what he had to say. He said, "Personally, this has been an exhausting conversation and negotiation. I mean, Juan Soto's negotiation was tough. This is worse. A lot of it is we've made a significant offer. I don't like the structures that are being presented back to us. I think it's highly asymmetric against us, and I feel strongly about it."
He said basically we've prepared ourselves to move on. And they're telling Vientos and Brett Beatty both, start learning first base, at this point. Too young. Vientos is a really good player. I don't know that I'd move him off at third, but Brett Beatty, sure. Yeah, man. Get that first baseman's mitt and get after it if you're not going to bring back Pete, which, again, it's to me, it doesn't make sense, but who's his agent? His agent is Scott Boras. He presented him a contract that probably has a lot of opt-outs, a lot of it's been more beneficial to the player than it is the team. They're not meeting in the middle. They're not willing to meet in the middle, so he's comfortable letting him walk.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see where he goes.
According to the reports, Scott Boras was originally seeking a long-term deal, 6-7 years for Pete Alonso.
Yeah, what was the deal he threw out there?
And I don't remember the exact deal, but then he has indicated he's open to returning on a 3-year contract, which got the Mets interested again. They didn't want to do the really long-term deal, but again, the money, I'm sure they've upped the money for the 3 years because, well, if it's going to be a shorter deal, they want to get more money out of it, and the Mets have said no to that. So I don't know. Is this a case of Scott Boras overplaying his hand like he did with a couple of guys last offseason, asking for too much? And I mean, where's the backup landing spot right now for Pete Alonso?
The Angels is what I saw, which for him, okay, yeah, you could probably get your money, but you're on a team that probably isn't going to compete. And I think competition and winning is important to Pete Alonso based on everything he said over the years. It's tough, and Brandon makes a good point. He said them prioritizing Soto over someone who was a key cog for their team for 6 years might be a slap in the face. I think that's one way to look at it, man, but if you had a chance to bring in a better player to make our team better, I'd be all for it as long as I got mine too. You heard a lot of that from the Dodgers this offseason. Hey, I don't care. Max Muncy said it was great. He goes, I don't care if they bring in Arenado as long as I get to stay. Like they wanted to make sure he's with their team. But yeah, it is weird to hear, a guy like of Steve Cohen's bank account be like, I don't like it. I'm not just going to pay just to pay.
They gave away the Cy Young and MVP and all the awards over the weekend. Saw some guys in tuxedos. Unfortunately, Paul Skeens getting his Rookie of the Year award that I still firmly believe
Paul Skeens
should have gone to Jackson Merrill.
Oh, did you see the update on the card?
I think Paulie's going to do that in the Reindl Report.
Oh, you got it in the Reindl Report?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
There are updates on
I'm
the
seeing
Paul
a lot
Skeens
of
one-of-one card.
I'm seeing a lot of people crying foul on this too, which I really don't understand. Maybe you guys can explain that to me.
Probably not.
They said that this nobody ever actually pulled the card, which I don't understand because I do believe it's out for auction. So
it's like the fake Wonka golden ticket.
Yeah, exactly right.
The guy in South America.
They're saying
it turns out it's a fake, and then Charlie Bucket actually finds
they're saying
the
that
last golden
they're
ticket.
saying that the Tops orchestrated and manufactured this, which would be quite the scandal.
Well, I mean, obviously they manufactured it.
Well, they did the one card. Yeah, they manufactured the one card. But they
manufactured
they said all this is
the
BS.
kid finding it or what? I don't get it. All right. Well, we will have an update from that in a couple of minutes. Let's see. Other sports updates for you quickly. Oh, we haven't really talked about the golf tournament much. But Farmers Insurance Open did finish on Saturday with Harris English being crowned a champion. And saw a lot of people going, wow, this is a no-name leaderboard for the Farmers Insurance Open. They had a few things working against them. Obviously, the schedule for the PGA, the signature events have, led to a couple of guys to skipping the Farmers. You had Xander's injury, so he wasn't there. Then you had a flu bug going around, and, Will Zalatoris and Colin Morikawa pulled out right before the start of the tournament. And then even like guys like Ludwig Åberg, who had the great first round, he kind of got the flu, and he fell off the map in the next couple of days.
He was telling guys to stay away from him. Like, he fought through it, but he was really, really under the weather while he was playing. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I saw a lot of discourse yesterday about golf, as it tends to be these days. But I saw somebody made the point. They said golf has PGA has a major problem right now. And the fact is, people would rather log on to YouTube and watch some not good golfers do YouTube content than watch the leaderboard at the Farmers with a bunch of guys that they'd never heard of. I disagree. I may be in the minority these days, but I still want to see the best of the best doing their thing. YouTube content creation's great. More power to those guys that can do it. I don't go watch it. I want to see the best of the best. That's like me saying, man, Paulie and I put together a really cool YouTube feed of our adult league game this weekend. It's better than watching a 2.5, 3 hour baseball game. I don't agree. I want to see the best in the world plying their trade and hitting the green and making the putts and winning. I mean, it was a close sport. I hadn't heard a bunch of those guys. I still tuned in for the last 5 holes.
I think the PGA Tour has created a lot of this mess, obviously, itself. And as much as I love golf, they've created the big boy tournaments, and then of course every other tournament is going to be viewed as kind of minor league. Yep. When you make signature events and you say, all right, these are worth $20 million, these you have to have all the top players at. What does that leave all the other tournaments as? Chopped liver, kind of.
Exactly right.
It's like watching the Rose Bowl versus the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Right. It is a little bit. And that's unfortunate because there are great golfers. It's a great tournament. It's a great event. Torrey Pines was spectacular.
Incredible.
I mean, even with the wins and just the course conditions were great. The golf was great. It's tough. I like the fact that par is a good score. Harris English made 12 straight pars to win the tournament. It's like the U.S. Open.
That's outstanding, man.
It's like the U.S. Open. And it's a U.S. Open type course. But obviously, with all those guys skipping, you're not going to have the same cachet as with a Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, the only thing that they're lacking some star power right now. That's what they're lacking. But it was great to see Harris English win, 5th time on the tour. It never gets old to me watching a guy win a golf tournament. It really doesn't, even if I've never heard of him before. I think it's great.
He's a good golfer.
Golfer.
He lost in a playoff here like a decade ago. Wanted this win, loves Torrey, says just one of my favorite courses. He's stuck with the tournament, even though, by the way, it was a record purse at Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
No one brings that up. It was like 9-point-something million.
Yep.
Just because it's not the same as the other tournaments doesn't mean like they're playing for nothing. He won like $1.7 million. That's a huge payday.
Good 4 days, man.
So, he wins it. Congratulations to him. Again, we will have the Genesis Invitational now coming to Torrey here in a couple of weeks, moved due to the Palisades fire, so I'm sure we'll have more details on that coming up. First, though, Woods and I want to tell you about Trust and Will. It's the easy online way to secure your family's future. If something should happen to you and you don't have your wishes spelled out, either in a will or in a trust, which can keep you out of some costly probate procedures that your family won't have to go through, might not have to take huge hits on the taxes. You don't need a high-priced attorney to set this all up for you. You can actually do it online in a matter of about 20 minutes.
You can, and think about that trust situation. Could take 9 to 18 months to settle. If there's a $500,000 estate, you're going to pay about $25,000 just in the fees alone. And when you're stuck in probate, you can't access savings, property, or other assets. Guys, this is a no-brainer. It took about 20 minutes to get this thing knocked out over the Christmas and holiday break. Just go to trustandwill.com. When you are done and you're paying, just use the code San Diego. It's one word, trustandwill.com. Use the code San Diego at checkout. Secure your assets. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will. You'll get 10% off plus free shipping of your estate plan documents.
All right, got a giveaway right now. We've got some tickets to see Tom Arnold. He is coming to the Yellow Door this Saturday. It's National Lampoon, the Yellow Door. Grab your tickets at nlyellowdoor.com/San Diego to see Tom Arnold. Or be the third caller at 833-288-0973 right now. We'll give you a pair of tickets to see the comedian Tom Arnold at the Yellow Door this Saturday. We'll come back with Take on Woods and the Reindl Report in our final 2 segments next here on 97.3 The Fan. All right, we have given away the Tom Arnold tickets. Congratulations. Who won them, Paulie?
Eric.
Eric won those tickets. We also had Carlos call back, so our first biggest fan is qualified for the drawing. Now we need a contestant for Take on Woods. So if you want to dial us up right now, try to qualify for our grand prize getaway to Las Vegas. Concert tickets to see the Scorpions, $100 gas card. Call now for our musical trivia contest, 833-288-0973. At some point, we'll get it back to its usual segment at 8:20, but we're going to go a little late today, 833-288-0973. Woods and I rarely agree on pop culture, but both of us agree on the best Tom Arnold movie.
True Lies.
True Lies.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, great movie.
That was a good one.
He was good in Austin Powers,
Say Austin
too.
Powers.
Yeah, you tell that turd who's boss. It's pretty funny. I didn't know he was still doing like stand-up.
Buddy, what did you eat?
Who does number 2 work for? He works for you, pal. He's pretty funny.
Grab onto something and fight
Lay
like
into it.
hell.
Fight like hell. I had no idea he was still doing stand-up. Crazy.
All right, give us a call if you want to play Take on Woods, 833-288-0973. Let's see what else I've got here from the busy weekend of sports. NFL MVP finalists were announced. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Saquon Barkley, and Jared Goff.
Okay.
I mean, if you're including playoffs, I feel like Saquon Barkley is making a
they're
really
not.
good case, but they're not, which means I think it comes
Lamar
down to Josh
or Josh.
Allen or Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
But congratulations to all the finalists in the NFL MVP. Those are announced next week, right before the Super Bowl. We got the Pro Bowl games this weekend.
Okay, look forward to that.
Flag football and the sort.
Okay.
And then obviously everyone shows up in New Orleans next week.
You forget
Super Bowl 59.
You forget what a weird dead period next weekend is. There's no football games.
That's true.
Yeah. It's fun. Got to get creative.
Waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, at least we have the Padres.
Well, who knows what we're going to have. All right, we got Robert on the line. Let's get to it. It is time to play Take on Woods. All right, Robert, you are a contestant this morning on Take on Woods. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
Good morning, fellas. Great weekend.
I like to hear that. All right, let's get you qualified for our grand prize drawing. It is a 2-night stay in Las Vegas at Planet Hollywood and tickets to see the Scorpions. Their 60 Years of the Scorpions Las Vegas residency show live August 14th through the 23rd at PH Live at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. We'll throw in a $100 gas card to help you get there as well. Here are your category choices. We got rock and roll hits. Those are 2-second songs, all with the word rock and roll, or the phrase rock and roll in the title. We've got all in. We've got 5 song titles that begin with the word all. And then we've got another rock and roll category. It's called It Starts With Rock and Roll. Those are 5 song titles that begin with the phrase rock and roll. So it's kind of a limited choice, but you got rock and roll hits, all in, or it all starts with rock and roll. What would you like to play, Robert?
I'll go with the first one, rock and roll hits.
Rock and roll hits. All right. It is an all 2-second song category, so I'll let Paulie open up his folder. Because it's all 2-second songs, you know the deal. You have to identify the song title and the artist to score each of the 5 points. We'll go you first, then Woodsy will come back, and he'll get his chance. And if you tie him or beat him, we'll put you into the drawing for the trip to Las Vegas. Remember, you can pass. If you don't know one, we'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. And again, every song title includes the phrase rock and roll. Robert, are you ready to play?
I am ready.
All right, Paul, you good to go?
I'm ready.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. The category is rock and roll hits. Listen closely. Your time will begin when Paulie plays our first 2-second song. Good luck, Robert. Let's take on Woods.
Old time rock and roll, Bob Seger.
Correct. Song number 2.
I want to rock and roll all night. Or rock and roll all night, probably.
Yep.
Pass on the artist temporarily.
Okay. Song number 3.
I love rock and roll, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Correct. Song number 4.
What's the matter with
It's Billy Joel, still rock and roll to me.
Correct. Song number 5.
Ooh, I've never heard that song, but the artist on the one I missed
Number
is
2.
Kiss.
Yep. Rock and Roll All Night. That's 4. Let's try this last one more time. You have heard it. Oh, you got 4. I wonder if that's going to be enough. That was a well-played game. The one you missed. You got Old Time Rock and Roll, Bob Seger. Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss. I Love Rock and Roll, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, Billy Joel. That was Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo by Rick Derringer. Let's bring Woods back in. Robert, hang on the line. All right, Robert just played a pretty good game, Woods.
Well, you sound excited, so we'll see.
All you get to know is that it's all 2-second songs today. So put your headphones on tight, turn up the volume, and we begin with our first song. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Robert.
Old Time Rock and Roll, Bob Seger.
Correct. Song number 2.
Rock and Roll All Night, Kiss.
Correct. Song number 3.
I Love Rock and Roll, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Correct. Song number 4.
What's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing?
It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, Billy Joel.
All right, here we go. Song number 5.
Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, Rick Derringer.
Oh, he wins it! The last one! 5-4.
Oh, man.
Pulls it out on Rock and Roll Hits. Sorry,
Hoochie Coo.
Robert. Hoochie Coo indeed.
Did you ever pull my Dylan Thief, by the way, Paulie?
I gotta go back and get that one.
Hoochie Coo. Dylan Thief, by the way.
Robert, I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
he had
Robert.
them all, and then he got to Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. And he says,
Roll,
I've never heard that
Hoochie
song before. I said, I know you have.
You have.
You have,
Yeah.
but the last one usually is the toughest one.
Man.
Woods pulls it out with a great
Yeah,
win
I
to
walked
start
in,
the
you were
week.
like, oh, great game. I was like, oh, boy. Have to bring the
Yep.
heat.
Oh, that was fun.
It's a good one.
That's a good way to start the week.
Titillating.
All right, Robert, you can always take another chance later in the month. We're getting pretty late in January here. Just a few more days to qualify for this month's grand prize drawing. Paulie has got, let's see, an update on the Paul Skeens card, and
I've got a gnarly. I don't know how we missed this for Don't Do This, but some college basketball trolling that went a little too far.
all right, that's all coming up in our final segment of Ben and Woods.
Yes, sir. And California sports fans, speaking to you, good news. Underdog now available to play right here in our state. Underdog, the best place to cash in on all your takes during the playoffs. Which players are going to go off? Which ones are ice cold? I was ice cold. The players were fine. I was ice cold in my picks yesterday. Going to regroup, get back to neutral, and look at the big game between the Eagles and the Chiefs. And yeah, we'll definitely be playing some underdog. So it's a good time to sign up, get into the app, poke around with it, have some fun. They got a lot of cool little things that make it interesting. The only pick and platform puts the power to cash out in your hands. You can either keep riding with your entry, tap the win now button to cash out whenever you want. I did not have the opportunity to cash out yesterday. I think that's the last time I post my picks, because every time I do that, it's not good. And but you... Or I could post them and you could just fade me. That'd be a good one. But all you got to do is you pick higher or lower on player stats. It's really easy. It's really fun. And really fun way to win. So, Underdog, best place to play Pick'em. Download the app. Sign up with the promo code WOODS. Deposit now. Get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Use the promo code WOODS when you signed up. You got to be 18 or over, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
All right, don't forget you can download the Odyssey app. Listen to 97.3 The Fan on the app for your chance at the ultimate trip in the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest. Again, all you have to do, download the Odyssey app, log in, and listen to this station for at least 1 hour to earn your daily entry into this national contest. The grand prize is travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Las Vegas, plus $5,000 for each person, $20,000 total to fund the ultimate viewing experience for the first 2 rounds of the College Basketball Championship Tournament. What a weekend that is in Vegas. Just start listening to the app for your chance to win daily entries from Odyssey. Very cool.
Very cool.
All right, we're going to check traffic one last time with Kelly, and then we'll get into the Reindl Report with some headlines at the end of the show.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
Looks like things are winding down pretty nicely all around the county. Still some very slick roadways in various parts, though, so please keep your speeds down. Take it extra carefully, especially on those transition ramps. Had this collision on the northbound 805 before Imperial. A couple vehicles involved in this one. It's got the HOV lane blocked, but that's the only accident to mention, guys. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Good morning, my friends.
Good morning.
All right, we will get started. We talked about it a little bit earlier. The Paul Skeens 1-of-1 card. I think we talked about it briefly on Friday morning, that the card had been found. And we do have some updates. Of course, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they put together a hell of an offer for whoever pulled the card, including a meet and greet, autographed jerseys,
A night
spring
with
training
a night with
experiences.
Livy Dunn.
Yeah, a night with Livy Dunn. And most importantly, I guess 30 years worth of season tickets behind home plate. Now, problem is, there's an 11-year-old kid who pulled the card, and he lives in Los Angeles. So I don't know that 30 years of season tickets to the Pirates was going to do a whole lot for him. And he has turned down that offer, according to ESPN. Topps, and also they also announced the news that he had said, nope, we're not going to do that. They're going to put the card up for auction. And it says here that Fanatics Collect will be auctioning off the card later in the spring, sometime in March.
Okay.
And they have said that they will donate the proceeds of that card, the sale, to fire relief efforts in the Los Angeles area. So
Very cool.
I think that's a good move.
Yeah.
I don't know how much the auction site purchased the card for. Because, right, that's how it works, right? They buy the card from the kid.
Usually at an auction site, the auction gets a commission on the final sale, but it's the actual seller doesn't know what they get until the end of the auction.
Okay, they didn't buy it.
So they
and
don't
hope to
buy.
sell
Yeah, no,
it.
they don't buy it. It's usually just a commission, like a service, like for a
Consignment.
10% fee or 5% fee, whatever. We'll host this auction to
Consignment.
theoretically drive up the price, and then you'll get a bigger return on your investment, or in this case, baseball card.
It's funny, over the weekend, Topps put out, it says the 11-year-old collector who pulled the Paul Skeens 1-of-1 debut patch card just shared his journal entries. It's an absolute must-read.
Yeah.
And they
Child
posted,
handwriting.
Yeah, child's handwriting. They posted his journal entries. He keeps a journal at 11. That's good. I wish I had gotten in that habit. Would love to go back and read some of my old journals if I had any.
It might not be safe for work or radio.
Or, yeah, for real. But here's some highlights. Let's see. On the second pack, I got the Paul Skeens redemption card. I quote, "Hey, Dad, I pulled the Paul Skeens redemption card." He was like, "No, you didn't." Then I showed him the card, and me and my brother and my dad were like, "OMG." My mom was very excited, too, but she never collected cards, so she didn't know what it meant. Then my brain pooped, and I started bouncing all over the place, and my dad was like, "Let's go!" I was so excited, but first we went to one of our grandparents' house and hung out with them and our uncles and aunties. I'm 11 years old, so pulling this card is a dream come true.
I do remember writing at that age. There was oftentimes some unnecessary detail that was included, like, oh yeah, then we went to the grandparents' house and
it's
hung
interesting.
out with the aunts.
It's interesting you mentioned this. I came home from fantasy camp, and my son, my oldest son, Bo, 7 years old, in a couple weeks, says, "Dad, I wrote a book." I said, "Wow, impressive." And I said, "Well, what's it called?" He said, "It's called The Crazy Boy."
Sounds like the next John Grisham legal thriller.
So I said, "Can I read it?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "It's not finished yet." He finished it over the weekend.
Oh, good.
I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to read it on the air. It's
tie together all the plot threads, and they come together at the end.
It's phenomenal.
Really? Okay.
I mean, phenomenal in
past publishing,
meaning hysterical. He sold his book already.
Oh,
to his mother.
Okay.
For $2.
Nice.
And gave $1 to his buddy Cal. So he's made $1 off of this. But he wrote it out by hand. I read it in its totality last night. I can't wait to share it with you guys. You're going to love it. The Crazy Boy. And I said, "Is this you?" He goes, nah, maybe. I guess loosely based on him. Yes.
Autobiographical story
Correct.
of the Crazy Boy.
The Crazy Boy, which is amazing. So yeah, I'll read it for you guys.
Does the Crazy Boy have a crazy dad?
Potentially. In this story, it's more of the crazy mom, which as dad
so
I like better.
It's potentially that this book was purchased to keep it from widespread publication?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That's why she bought it. She bought it. She wanted her reputation. Again, loosely based. It's kind of like Annie and Craig's Match Game. It's loosely based.
It's kind of like that Disclosure show that you got me to watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Loosely based on this.
Maybe not as racy.
Definitely not as racy.
All right, we'll move on.
The Crazy Boy.
To some college basketball. Teased it heading into the segment. Some trolling that went a little too far, I think. Women's college basketball. So Friday night, LSU was playing at South Carolina, and they lost. South Carolina did win. And the DJ, the in-arena DJ, did a little bit of trolling by playing a song by the rapper Camouflage, is what his stage name was, and that was actually Flau'jae Johnson from LSU. It's her dad. Problem is, he was murdered in 2003, 6 months before she was born. And
it's a little bit over the line.
She tweeted a screenshot of the DJ's Instagram story where the DJ shared a laughing, crying emoji and having that song playing. It was playing in the final moments of the game on Friday night.
What's the song called?
F word.
Okay.
Friends.
All right.
Yes. And so yesterday, the South Carolina women's basketball program announced that the DJ had been suspended for one game for what they did on Friday nights. And she herself posted, "I'll take my L on the chin, but this just nasty behavior. Nothing funny about that." And I would agree.
Yeah, that goes a little bit too.
Oh,
this isn't like na, hey, goodbye.
Right.
Like that.
So he was known as Camouflage, and then his daughter, who was born, they named her Flau'jae.
Flau'jae.
Like the end of camouflage. Flau'jae. I get that.
I'm reading some of the lyrics to the song. I don't rap, Ben does, but I can read it a little bit. That's cool. I see his name tattooed on your T. Here go my beeper number, just hit me. We can roll out, get drove out, and get a mow out. 204 real low, nobody got to know. Park your Honda in Walmart parking lot in front of the store. Jump in with me, hit the highway. To the room we go. Oh no, I need to get a box of rubbers. So I can, nope.
Yeah, probably just stop there.
Hit the weed, smash off. I'm going to try to do it like Ben. Hit the weed, smash off in the wind. Hey, little mama, let's play.
Ganja, a.k.a. cannabis.
Son of a bitch.
So after Flage posted that and said, look, I'll take my L on the court. But
Yeah.
This was too far. The DJ did apologize. He said it was never my intent to disrespect anyone or offend anyone when my job is to have fun and make sure other people have a good time.
You know what's fun is
I think he
bringing
took
up
that
my
a
dead
little
father. My
far.
murdered father is the funniest thing for me. My father was murdered, so that is hysterical. I got to give you that one. Maybe I just saw it the wrong way. Making fun of my father who was murdered. That's cool.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good.
All right.
All right, finally a little food story for you guys. This I think is disgusting, but we can discuss it
Is
here.
this what I think it is?
I don't know.
Is this the one I sent you?
Yes.
Oh.
Progresso soup.
Oh, this is so bad, dude.
So if you go down the soup aisle at your local grocery store, there's two major brands. You'll see Chunky Soup, the cans, and
Campbell's,
Progresso,
yeah.
Campbell's, right?
Chunky is a Campbell's product.
I think it is, yeah.
Well, Progresso has just launched a new product, and it's called Soup Drops, which is a hard candy that you suck on and get the flavor of soup.
It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
They look like hard caramel candies,
but it's
soup,
clam
like
chowder.
chicken
in it.
noodle soup.
This is very Violet Beauregard,
It
since we
is.
were already talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
God.
It tastes like tomato soup. It's just running down my
Strawberries taste
throat.
like
It's
strawberries.
delicious.
I can't even.
Here comes the main course.
I can't even
roast beef.
I can't even fathom this. I can't even fathom it.
Absolutely disgusting.
Is this real?
Yeah, they said last week the company launched its first ever soup you can suck on, a savory lozenge that captures the taste of traditional chicken noodle soup from Progresso.
Who in their right mind is like, oh, I need soup on the go. I just don't have time. Let me suck on a lozenge or a lozenge.
Well, I mean, if you're sick, lozenges are good for you. Soup is good for you.
Each
This
drop-
is
It
just
is.
combining them both into one.
All right.
Each drop has flavors of broth, chicken, vegetables, soft egg noodles, and a hint of parsley.
God.
Just a hint.
So, M.M. McKee
So
said,
is it sweet or not sweet?
it's not sweet. It's
There's no
soup.
Okay, just
You ever
making
eat a
sure.
sweet soup?
I mean, like maybe a corn chowder has some sweetness in it, but
So, somebody said, M.M. McKee in the chat said, all right, buy these and replace the bean wheel. Because I threw the bean wheel away. It was old
Yeah.
and stale.
Yeah.
Imagine having to lose a bet and eat a soup drop.
Soup drops.
All right, if you can find some, Paulie, I'll try some on the air.
They
'Cause, I
sold
mean,
out right away.
Of course they did. People are insane.
And I guess
They all turned into blueberries in the end.
So
It
gross.
says here you go to progressosoupdrops.com and they're going to restock every Thursday through the remainder of National Soup Month. I don't know if
When
that's
is
this
that?
month or
This
next
month
month.
or next? I love soup. I am a soup fan. I am, but I do not want a hard
Why
candy.
are you a soup fan? Soup is just,
I love
it's
soup.
never satisfying enough as a meal.
Yeah, sure it is.
You're not
I mean,
having the right soup. then.
As an appetizer, great, but you can't just eat
Well, there's different
soup
kinds.
as a meal.
There's different kinds. You can have, I like appetizer soup is delicious. I
Yeah.
love a lobster bisque.
Yeah, that's delicious.
Delicious.
Yeah.
A little cup of clam chowder before a meal's great. But I can also eat a big old thing of chicken corn chowder, and I'm with some crackers. I'm full.
That's
Like,
it.
That's
You're
it.
good.
Yeah, 100%.
A hearty soup.
Chowders are better than a broth.
Right.
Like chicken noodle soup is not really a meal, but I'll eat it as lunch.
I like tomato soup, but I need like a grilled cheese sandwich
To dip inside it.
inside it. That's the real meal. The soup is just the side flavor.
That's just there's nothing in it. That's just liquid. I mean, with chicken noodle soup, you get noodles and chicken and vegetables. And I made chili last night. Is chili a soup?
Chili's not a soup.
It's a chili.
It's chili.
Yeah. Somebody just asked that. Yeah, it's chili soup. I don't know. I ate 3 bowls of it yesterday.
What kind of meat do you put in your chili? Ground beef or do you
ground
go-
beef.
Ground beef?
Yeah.
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 Beans or no beans on your chili? Beans.
I'm from
chili.
Texas, and I still put beans in.
Really?
Yeah.
Says that's not a Texas. Usually like just
No
the
beans.
loose meat chili.
You know what else I put in mine? Go ahead and mock me. Guess.
Ooh. What
Mock-
else?
mock
so
me.
beans.
Beans, meat,
Ground beef.
Ground beef.
Obviously the chili spices.
Correct. I did get some
tomatoes.
Yeah, I got some chili powder up my nose yesterday, and I sneezed 75 times. I thought I was going to die.
What else does Woods
not
put
celery,
in his
nope.
chili?
Somebody
Let's
said
go
celery.
with cauliflower.
No, that's repugnant.
That's what I was guessing. Something that doesn't belong in chili.
Corn.
Corn.
Yeah, white corn. I put white corn. My wife really likes it. I've grown to like it. And so
in the chili.
Yeah, it's delicious, and I make Frito pie with it. So little Fritos, chili on top, more Fritos, a little cheese, tiny dollop of sour cream. I'm going to eat it for lunch.
At what point does that just become a dip?
Well, yeah, you could use it as a dip. Yeah, you could use it as a dip. It's really good. It's really, really good. So I made that for dinner. Even Bo Bo loved it. Taylor helped me make it. It was great. So I got a trough of it left. I'll go home and eat it for lunch. But it was bomb. And I was very, very full after that. So it definitely wasn't a soup. What do you use in your meat? Or for your meat? Turkey? I use turkey too. Sometimes.
We actually have done turkey chili quite a bit. I think it works pretty well in chili, actually.
It's bomb. Yeah, 100%.
My wife makes like a tortellini soup.
Ooh.
Noodles feel like kind of the bulk of it, the big, thick tortellini noodles are good.
I love soup, man. And when would you eat that? Like, you want to get lunch, but you don't have time to get lunch, so you have a Progresso soup drop? It's not for when you're sick.
I mean, there can't be enough calories in it to be sustaining. It's just a drop, so
But if you want a piece of candy, you don't want your candy to taste like minestrone, right? Like you just want it to taste like candy.
I am definitely confused about the proper
when's
time
the purpose
to eat the soup drop.
Right. When do you eat it? What's it for?
Right. Maybe right before we go on the show. It's good, like throat breakfast.
At 6.
Yeah, early in the morning.
No,
soup drops.
I don't think so.
Is it vegetarian or is there actual like chicken?
Chunks of clam in it. It melts in your mouth. You go, oh, I got some clam in here. Sounds weird. But Paulie, if you can get some,
see what I can do.
See what you can do, because I would like to try it. And it's just one flavor?
As of right now, I believe it's just the chicken noodle soup.
I would do broccoli cheddar drop. That would be pretty tasty.
Broccoli cheddar soup is delicious. But there's a lot of melted cheese in it.
Lots of it. It's so good.
Which does make everything taste better.
And if it's a drop, it means it's cold. So no, we don't like cold soup. That's just weird.
Room temperature.
I do want to try it. I bet it's all right.
I don't know if I can.
I'll do it.
All right, let's see. A couple other notes. Local women's athletes. We're losing one, and we're getting one a little closer. Naomi Girma was sold to Chelsea for $1.1 million.
Sounds very weird when you say it
Does sound
like that,
weird.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I guess it's a transfer, but Chelsea pays the San Diego Wave $1.1 million to acquire the player. Now, if you're a Wave fan, that's like a bummer because you're losing one of your best players. You're not even getting a player back. You're just getting money. And the team gets that. But then again, she can make a lot more money in Europe than she can here. So she asked, hey, can you send me over there and I can make more money? And they were like, all right, I guess that will be nice and send you over and we'll just take the big check.
Can Adam send me to Europe?
Possibly.
To make more money.
I don't know that Padres talk is a big money maker. And
good morning, Paris.
Other side of the pond.
You'll never believe what Kevin Acee wrote today.
And then women's basketball star Kelsey Plum.
London, you've got a problem.
London, you've got a problem.
La Jolla Country Day. She is coming to the L.A. Sparks. Was traded from the Las Vegas Aces in a three-way WNBA trade involving the Seattle Storm as well. Won 2 championships with the Aces in 2022 and 2023. Three-time All-Star, and she's going to be playing for the Los Angeles Sparks next year after the trade last night.
LA stays winning, man. Still,
it's a good move. I mean,
USC just took the Irish's general manager, which is a huge, huge loss.
And did you see that Penn State stole Ohio State's defensive coordinator? I can't believe.
Why would you go
that? $3.1 million.
Was it a huge raise?
$3.1 million to be a college football defensive coordinator, not even a head coach.
Crazy, man.
I was going, man. You better not give up any points at all for that kind of money.
That's a lot of dough.
I feel like if I give up a field goal a game, I'm not earning my $3.1 million just to be a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, it's a lot of dough.
College football has become...
It is an S show right now. It really is.
Just the money everywhere.
Crazy.
Players, coaches, everything. It's nuts right now.
All right.
I mean, inside your own, just in your own conference, stealing away.
He stole the guy.
The guy from Ohio State.
Yep. So. Well, we'll keep you guys abreast on any Padres news that breaks while we're out. Craig and Annie will be up next. They'll have the latest, probably dissect some of the Kevin Acee articles, as it were, from the weekend and today.
Also have another name in our biggest fan contest to read during their program, I believe, sometime in the 1 o'clock hour. 1 o'clock is
and
when you get that.
5:30.
From Annie and Elston, 5:30 with Gwen and Chris. All right, that's it for us. Thank you to our executive producer and imaging director, Paul Reindl. For Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Monday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan. Take care.